Antonio Sports
How good do you want to be? From play one to the last play, we fighting. Today's about opportunity and character. We got a chance to come out here and play football. It's a blessing. Hey, every season is full of defining moments. Let's make this day a defining moment for us in our quest. Let's go, baby.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here are the guys.
Good morning. Good morning and huddle up, one and all. Happy Monday, February 26th, 2024. My name, of course, RJ Ochoa. Rob Thompson out today. We may or may not have a surprise for you in store later on this particular morning as you are headed out to work, to the gym, whatever the case may be. We're here to help you mind them brake lights and hopefully have a little bit of fun in the process. We begin the final week of the month of February, and we see everybody in the Brigade Bar, by the way. Everybody make sure to check out our YouTube channel, search for SA Sports Star, subscribe, pay the life tax, turn on the notifications. I see you, Rudolph Gonzalez. I see you, Goldfinger123. I see you, Vince Trevino. It is a good morning, and I hope it is for you as well. Final week of February is upon us. As mentioned, the Spurs have one more game left in the Rodeo Road Trip. That number one is important because that is the number of wins they have throughout it so far, falling again on Sunday night to the Utah Jazz. We did get a 5-by-5 from Wemby over the weekend against the Lakers and LeBron James, of all people. We're going to get into that. It was magnificent. We talked about it actually on Friday, how he came close. I mean, he flirted with it actually on Thursday night in Sacramento, and then lo and behold, it was just the 14th time in NBA history that this had happened. You have to kind of wonder whether or not, when it's all said and done, if Wemby will have 14 or more of his own. The Dallas Cowboys, didn't play, but this week does begin the NFL Combine, which means they're going to be in action to some degree, although Mike Zimmer, newest Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator, and Mike McCarthy will not be there. Houston Texans don't have to look for a quarterback because they found one at the Combine last year. But interestingly enough, the people who are looking for the quarterback, the cognitive test, the S2 test that was associated with C.J. Stroud for negative reasons for Stroud specifically. Seems like a lot of quarterbacks are shying away from that. A lot of prospects in general, a lot of quarterbacks not going to be throwing, instead choosing to do so at their pro day. This, of course, is a common effect that we have seen over the course of the last decade or so now, really. It's just the way things go. The Combine, if you are, I wouldn't say new around here, but if you don't totally pay attention, you don't monitor it, the most important thing from the Combine, while we have a lot of fun, the underwear Olympics and all that sort of jazz, the most important thing that the Combine gives us is medical information. All of the players are assessed and evaluated from a medical perspective. Players who come in with injuries or injury questions, situations, whatever, those things are able to be determined in some way, shape, or form, which is, again, the primary purpose in the modern age of the NFL Combine. In terms of, performances and things like that, that's reserved more for the pro day. College basketball is heating up. I spent part of the weekend in Waco. I talked about on Friday how I was going to be road tripping, and we were at George's. Anyone who knows Waco, who knows that neck of the woods, anyone who knows George's knows it's a great time, and it certainly was for me. But while we were there, the Baylor-Houston game was riveting and captivated my attention. Houston managing to pull things off in overtime. If Baylor could just hit, their free throws, and all of a sudden this is a very, very different conversation. We're talking about Houston falling over the course of the weekend, but they trailed finally on Sunday for the first time since like February 13th or whatever the case was. Really great game. We're not quite at March, as mentioned, but 1 week left, and it feels like things are going to start picking up a little bit more here as we get ready for the tournament. Like I said, with the Spurs, I'm tired. I'm tired of looking for things to feel positive about. Sunday night was really the least positive feeling game, I think, of the overall, at least Wemby, a little bit more of a quiet night. Certainly, not necessarily a 5-for-5 sort of thing. Did have the double-double, 22 points. We talked about it. Devin Vassell dropped 27, but all of it was for naught. Utah running away, 128-109. The Spurs did make it. I mean, they made Utah sweat, I suppose, just a teeny tiny bit. But it was a really, really, really another frustrating loss for the Spurs, which is what we've kind of grown accustomed to. And it was frustrating on the heels of a great performance, a great back and forth Friday night. Back and forth between Wemby and LeBron, and just kind of seeing and viewing and feeling the most recent dominant force in the NBA in LeBron James, and obviously what we believe to be the next up and coming force in the NBA in Wemby. And it was awesome. I mean, and I know that we've been looking for, and we've been struggling to find these, moral victories. And we talked about that on Friday after the Sacramento win, and then they went and did it again against LA. I'm really tired. I mean, it's February 26th, and we've got 11 wins. 11. I mean, it's really difficult to fathom that could be the case for an NBA team with an all-world talent, which is what the Spurs have in Victor Wembanyama. But yet, here they sit, an 11-win team, as March now just a couple of days away. And I don't know how we can believe that it's going to necessarily change. I mean, there's a lot of hope, but and Devin Vassell are just, Devin Vassell dropped 27 points. His plus-minus is -14 on Sunday night against Utah. And so it's just not functional team basketball. We will, of course, get into it in silver and black at 7 o'clock. Goldfinger 123 says in the Brigade Bar, RJ did LeBron that Wembanyama crowned the King's crown. I don't know if anybody saw this, but obviously Wemby, had the sneakers that came out at All-Star Weekend, and now he's been using, obviously, the alien emoji. It seems like there was a coordinated effort between LeBron and Wemby as far as Instagram captions were concerned. I know this is riveting and fascinating information. They basically had the same Instagram caption just relative to their own brand. And I only bring that up because it did seem that there was an effort between the two of them, which suggests, obviously, what somebody like LeBron thinks of Victor Wembanyama, which is, not that it's breaking news that Wemby is amazing, but he's impressing a lot of people. And on Friday night, he did do something historic with the 5x5 against LeBron's Lakers. Very cool for Wemby, but again, in another losing effort, there's a tweet that used to reference Shohei Ohtani and the Los Angeles Angels, Shohei and Mike Trout. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it. And it talks about, at this point, it doesn't matter because Shohei plays for the Dodgers, but how, anytime he would do something amazing. We would see all these stats about Shohei Ohtani that it would be, like for the first time since 1908, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the Angels lost 10-3 to the Tigers. That's kind of how it feels. Like Victor Wembanyama is doing all these amazing things, but it doesn't matter because Spurs keep losing. Let's get into it, though. Let's get into exactly what Wemby did on a more specific level on Friday night against the Lakers, et cetera, et cetera. We have a whole lot of fun in store for you today here on the Morning Huddle. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this on 94.1 San Antonio Sports.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Stars Spring Golf Classic is set. Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas. With plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Are you looking for a job where you can have a ton of fun and make great money? Then Twin Peaks is the team you need. They're looking for Twin Peaks girls, cooks, bussers, barbacks, and more. Text WORK for TP to 85000 to apply. That's 85000 to apply. Twin Peaks!
George gets justice. In life's most challenging moments, getting the right help matters most if you've been injured. Get George at George Salinas Injury Lawyers. With a track record of success and a dedication to their clients, George gets justice. George Salinas Injury Lawyers is not just a law firm. They're your support system. Get George at George Salinas Injury Lawyers today at 210-225-0999. GetGeorge.com. George gets justice. GetGeorge.com.
Do you have failing or missing teeth? Hi, I'm Dr. Andrew Mueller, Chief Oral Surgeon at Doctors Implants.
I had missing teeth, I had crowns, I had partials.
There was no way I was going to walk into my bathroom every morning and see my teeth in a container.
At Doctors Implants, replacing your teeth with full mouth dental implants might be the long-term solution you're looking for.
The 6-Hour Smile is a permanent full mouth teeth replacement. Your new smile will be custom designed to fit your face and lifestyle and will look and function just like regular teeth. You won't need to remove them from your mouth overnight, and you won't need adhesive to keep them in place. Eat freely and smile confidently again. Research them at doctorsimplants.com. Receive a complimentary doctor's consultation and CT scan when you call 210-640-0000. Again, that's 210-640-0000.
Home of the 6-Hour Smile.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ziprecruiter.com/free.
Tonight at 5:45, it's college basketball, Miami and North Carolina, on your home for March Madness, 94.1, San Antonio's Sports Star.
Huddle up. All right, look. We fixed the mic issue. All right, everybody was all, in a tizzy. We fixed the mic issue. Sometimes 6 a.m. is a little bit too early for everyone, the equipment included. My name's Rodeo Road Trip. You're listening to the Morning Huddle here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. And I hope that you're having a wonderful day. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend. I hope that it was just representative of all of your thoughts, emotions, and feelings on life, and that you woke up today feeling ready for a new week. And we're hopefully going to get you ready for it. Nobody can get the Spurs ready for anything these days. as they lost again. And there are positives. Okay, I don't want to just be a grumpy old grouch and say this team stinks. There are very obvious positives, but they're really difficult to see. To be quite frank with you, I don't understand the expression "miss the forest for the trees." I know the general purpose of it is something like you're missing what's right in front of you. I don't care about the forest. I don't care about the trees. I'm just sick of losing. The Spurs have lost 4 games in a row. They've won 1 game on the Rodeo Road Trip. They've won 1 game in the month of February. All right, they beat Toronto a few, feels like decades ago at this point in time. That was February 12th, so 2 weeks ago to the day. Since that is their only win since January 27th. We came in here on January the 29th. That was a Monday. That night, the Spurs would go on to completely and totally fall apart against the Wizards. But we came in saying, man, they beat the T-Wolves. They beat the T-Wolves, and that was awesome. That was super, impressive. That was super amazing. They hung tough on this back and forth kind of fourth quarter. They have lost, as mentioned, since then to the Wizards, Orlando, New Orleans, Cleveland, and then the Rodeo Road Trip at Miami, Orlando, Brooklyn, beat Toronto, lost at Dallas, and then, of course, this past weekend to get things started, they lost at Sacramento, the Lakers, and the Jazz on Sunday night. Funk Attack says, "Ayo, we back to FM." That's right. Again, we got through the power of the gremlins of connection issues, so we're good to go. I don't know that there's a big takeaway from Sunday night's game. I mean, they lost, and it wasn't close. I know they made it kind of cute in the fourth quarter, but the most impressive, important outing that the Spurs had over the course of the weekend, obviously and undeniably, came on Friday night against the Lakers. LeBron notably did not play in the first game for Los Angeles back after the All-Star break against the Warriors. We were all pissed off about that. potential playing game. But LeBron got up for Wemby, and LeBron got up and said, you know what, I got to get up for my future teammate, right? That's what we've been, having a lot of fun discussing. And Wemby, in case you didn't know, in case you missed it, dropped a 5 for 5. I mean, just an absolute masterpiece of a game from Victor Wembanyama, proving that he is the future, obviously, not just of the NBA, but arguably of international sports relative to what we see here domestically. And it was just incredible. I mean, it was just this incredible sort of thing, especially because he had come so close to doing it on Thursday night. So for him to literally go out and do it in his next outing speaks to his greatness and what his potential obviously is. But don't take my word for it. LeBron James, the king himself, was asked about Wemby in his postgame and came away feeling rather impressed.
He doesn't have a ceiling, so he can do whatever he wants to do with his career. He seems like he enjoys the game. He seems like he puts the work just from the outside looking in. Obviously, I'm not with him on a day-to-day basis, but I've said it a long time ago how special, he was. It's literally that simple.
Obviously, I'm not with him on a day-to-day basis. Interesting. It's an interesting comment just to say. I mean, it's true, but why say it unless you were planning on potentially being with him on a day-to-day basis? That's a straw to stir a drink on a different day. I do think that it is impressive that somebody like LeBron obviously comes away with a particular impression of Wemby. How can you not, especially on a night like that? But the wins just are not. It's okay, cool. Wemby's amazing. We understand that. Devin Vassell is a piece to work with, but what other thing is there to hang your hat on? I mean, what other player on this team is going to be on the team? And I saw a tweet the other day that said something about what other Spurs are going to be on this team in a decade. I'm not even going to go that far. Outside of and you let me know 656-3776-656 ESPN, or if you want to chime in the Brigade Bar. Outside of Wemby, and we'll throw in Devin Vassell, maybe Jeremy if you want. Kind of a plus-minus situation there. But what Spur on the current roster is going to be on the team in 3 years? I mean, even 2 years. I can't conceive in my mind any player on this roster that's going to be around. Goldfinger says in the chat, the L's come with the gig. The gig is tough, man. And the gig is just 128-109. And even this Lakers game, it felt winnable. It felt right there. And it feels like the Spurs cannot take hold of any of these winnable games. These are, you put them in different categories, right? We do that as sports fans. You put them in kind of a coin flip sort of thing. The coin always goes against them. It does. The coin always flips against the Spurs. It's like it's weighted. And it is impossible to believe that they could not just simply out of luck their way into a win. Maybe the Minnesota win was their one win, the one time that, tails did fail, so to speak. But this game against the Jazz is just, okay, cool. You got 2 points from Champagne. You got 1 point from Jeremy, by the way, benched. So 1 point from Jeremy before all this stuff kind of takes off and whatever, but gets benched after 4 minutes. And Mitch Johnson was obviously asked about this. Here's what he had to say.
Just repetitive mistakes. Sometimes you need to change up the messaging or change up the accountability or how you do things, and Pop's the best at it. So.
Sorry, Keldon, excuse me. But, 0 points. I got mixed up in the 0 and the 1. So Keldon gets benched right away. And mistakes, right? I'm fine if a coach wants to bench a player for making and committing mistakes. We're all fine with that. We can all compartmentalize that in our minds. Okay, that makes sense. Why are these mistakes happening, especially with a player like Keldon at this point, right? And miss me with this. I want to send a message. We have to make sure. Blah blah blah. Whatever, dude. You're getting smoked by the Jazz on a Sunday night on the heels of a rodeo road trip that has been incredibly unproductive for you from a team standpoint. Yeah. We've all seen the cool graphics that, the team account has tweeted out about Wemby in terms of the individual accolades, and we've celebrated the comments from LeBron and things like that. But if you're having to bench somebody who we're supposed to believe that you believe in, or at least believed in at one point in time, after 4 minutes for simple mistakes, I'm totally willing to blame the player to a certain degree. And I think in normal circumstances, if this was a normal, functional NBA team relative to the current moment, I think we all would sit back and say, you know what, Keldon deserved to be benched, right? You make a mistake, you step out of line, whatever, you're going to get benched, and that's what's going to happen. Okay, cool. That's life. That's sports. How is this still happening? How are these kind of mistakes still happening to the point that you would bench a player and send a message to this degree 4 minutes into the game, especially a player who we're supposed to, or at least were at one point in time supposed to believe was a tried and true legitimate part of the future? And I think that goes back to how many players on this roster are going to be on this roster even a year might be a little bit early, but 2 years from now. Again, Wemby's obviously safe. Devin is safe. Jeremy, again, we can kind of talk about touch and go, but again, the 1 point, just not a good scene. But Keldon, no points in 4 minutes, and it looks like a joke. I mean, honestly, and who are you, Spurs, to who are you to come out and say you're not good enough to play for our team? I mean, the Mount Pius effect to come out and say, you know what, you're not good enough to come lose by 19 points to the Jazz. Not here. Nobody earns the right to lose by 19 points to the Jazz for us on Sunday, February 25th. Goldfinger 123 in the Brigade Bar says, is it off-court discipline issues? I think they're just searching, and I think they're struggling. How could they not be, based on everything that we've seen? I think that they are doing everything in their power to have an answer. You ever take a test, Goldfinger 123 or anybody, and it's an open-ended question, and you have to kind of, maybe it's a physics test or a math test, and you have to do everything, and in parentheses it says show your work, and you come to an answer, and you're like, there's no way this could be the answer. It's not long enough, right? I have to be wrong here. I just need to fill something out. That's what the Spurs are doing here as we sputter down the rest of a putrid regular season effort. They are trying to fill in the work and make it look like a believable answer. They know it's going to be wrong. They know they're going to fail this test. They know they're going to have to retake and repeat this class. But at the very least, they can feel some sense and semblance of pride if the answer looks like a regular one relative to the rest of the class. Pumbaa Grubbs in the Brigade Bar says Spurs fans are going to storm the court if they win any game at this point. Storming the court might be a dying thing in the world of basketball. We'll get into that later on today as well. We already fought through the powers of connection issues. The microphone is back on track. I told you earlier, you may have not totally took it or understood it, but we may or may not have a surprise for you later on this morning. Rob Thompson out, but my name is RJ Ochoa. You stick right there. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be talking, of course, right after this about the NFL Combine kicking off and what you can kind of expect as far as NFL storylines to come. We're back after this here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on The Blitz, how'd the weekend go for the San Antonio Spurs? Still out on the road on that Rodeo Road Trip. We'll recap and look ahead. Plus, the NFL Combine gets underway in Indianapolis. A lot to talk about. We'll get it started at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Buyers Barricades is proud to provide traffic control, rental, and sales for work zones and events in the San Antonio area and beyond. Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. Learn more online at buyersbarricades.com. That's buyersbarricades.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
What's wrong with Rick? He's kind of spacey today. That's Rick's identical twin, Scott. He's not used to answering to Rick. What's going on? Rick asked me to keep it secret, but he asked his twin to cover his shift so he could go to Diamonds Direct to shop. But this is a jewelry store. Yeah, I know, but the prices and selection are so much better at Diamonds Direct. Rick doesn't want the boss to get suspicious, so Scott's here in case the boss sees Rick at Diamonds Direct. But that would mean that the boss is at Diamonds Direct too? Yeah, we have a lot of secrets.
You never know who you'll run into at Diamonds Direct. With unbeatable direct importer prices, the Designer rings, the best customer service, the strongest guarantees in the industry. It's just a no-brainer.
You think if Scott had a mustache, would he look like me? No.
Go where everyone else goes. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Well, what if I shaved?
Still no. For store hours, directions, and more, go to diamondsdirect.com.
Hey, poker players, the Big Blind is open. With a true Vegas feel, the Big Blind is the premier poker room in San Antonio, featuring an upscale environment catering to players from all abilities. Whether you are seeking high-octane tournaments or lively cash games, the Big Blind has a game for everyone. The Big Blind at 281 in Redland Road, just down from the Roo Pub, offers daily cash games to daily, weekly, and monthly tournaments. Learn more online at thebigblindsa.com. The Big Blind at 281 in Redland Road.
Gomez Law Firm has been taking care of the people of San Antonio for almost 50 years, the leader in personal injury law. Jose, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
We do ride-sharing cases, 18-wheeler cases. Obviously, we've done those for very many years. Work injuries. We will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then you need to visit joegomezlaw.com.
We've been around for almost 50 years, and we're not going anywhere.
Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736-4040.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone, all thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Asante came to TurboTax after graduating from culinary school and landing a job in the hottest kitchen in town.
My hands are full all day, every day. I love it.
Asante, as your TurboTax expert, I'll make your moves count, guaranteeing 100% accurate filing and your maximum refund. Sound good?
Yes, expert.
Switch to Intuit TurboTax and make your moves count. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T.
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text KETTLE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text KETTLE to 321-321. That's KETTLE to 321-321.
Hi, it's Jason Minix. You're listening to the home of the Cowboys, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hello and good morning. This is the Morning Huddle. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. My name is RJ Ochoa. Rob Thompson out today. Looking forward to hearing the Blitz later on this afternoon. Joe Reinagle riding Han style. That's solo for anybody unaware. We may or may not have a surprise for you in store around the Morning Huddle about, about 8 a.m. I'm thinking when we might, pull the drape off and show you the surprise. But for now, we have an important conversation that has to happen. And it is about the most important thing ever, basically. The NFL Combine kicks off this week. And this really is an important week. I know that people refer to it as the underwear Olympics, and they think it's nothing but players running around and, 40-yard dashes and throwing at players they don't know and, doing shuttle drills and things like that. The most important things that happen at the NFL Combine have nothing to do with the Combine itself. This is one of a few tentpole events for the NFL over the course of the offseason. Obviously, the Super Bowl is kind of what kicks things off. And there are two teams involved in that, so not necessarily a true offseason event for them. You have things like owners' meetings, et cetera. Combine is it presents an opportunity for all sorts of NFL dignitaries to be in the same place all at once, to be able to break bread, maybe have a steak and a shrimp cocktail at St. Elmo's there in Indy, and to be able to broker deals, to be able to discuss things. It's not just even for people associated with NFL teams, but agents, representatives, representation for different players, obviously. This is where the groundwork is laid for contract extensions, and notably for trades and for discussions like that. It's the first time that people bump elbows and say, "Hey, EJ Brown, what's up?" You know what I mean? You talk about things, you figure things out. There's a value in that happening with so many people around, and the interconnecting and the interweaving of all those sorts of things. Now, it is important to note that after we have just highlighted, the value that being there can provide, Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer, the Mike and Mike of the Dallas Cowboys, if you will, they will not be in attendance. They will not be at the NFL Combine. They're not the only ones. Sean McVay of the Los Angeles Rams not expected to be in Indianapolis this week. Neither is Robert Saleh of the New York Jets. And I don't think that there's any panic necessarily that's worth having as a result of that. But this is where the Cowboys have a real chance, and the Texans for that matter, but they don't have as many pressing issues. The Texans don't have all these contracts coming up to bear. The NFL, or the Dallas Cowboys, have the pending contract situation of Dak Prescott. They have the pending contract situation of CeeDee Lamb. They have the pending contract situation of Micah Parsons. And it is very likely that between the three of them, they are going to take home or be on the books for, maybe the more apt way of putting it, over $100 million per year. When it's all said and done, the Dallas Cowboys apportioned salary cap, and we found out on Friday that number is bigger than expected. A lot of people thought the salary cap would be somewhere around $243 million. There was chatter that it could be up to $250 million. Dr. Evil would freak out because the NFL cap is set at $255.4 million. That is a lot of money, obviously. And so for the Cowboys to have to figure things out with Prescott, Lamb, and Parsons is obviously difficult, but they have more room to work with than they initially thought, which is why they have no excuse if they don't get something like this done. Now, there was a report from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler over the weekend that the Cowboys and Prescott have not had any substantive talks yet relative to a contract discussion. I'm not calling Jeremy Fowler a liar, but I don't buy that. It's just not possible given the situation and the context surrounding Prescott's deal specifically. If you've been paying attention all along and you've been listening here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star to the Morning Huddle or the Blitz, and if you miss us live, of course, make sure to go subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can always rewatch things when we cut up and put things you need to see there in individual videos. But Dak Prescott's cap number right now, as it stands for the 2024 season, is, we're going to round up here because it's easier, $60 million. That is $60 million. Even in a pie that is as large as $255.4 million, that's just not a tenable situation. And so the Cowboys have to adjust and take care of that, not only in general, but before free agency begins, which is on March 13th in an official capacity, but March 11th in an unofficial and illegal tampering one. So the idea that nothing substantive has happened yet and that it's all going to happen over the course of 2 weeks feels rather unlikely to me. Everything right now is a game of he said, she said, posturing, narrative driving, narrative producing, trying to gain the upper ground. Shout out, of course, to Obi-Wan and Anakin. That is what this time of year is all about, all the chatter, all the discussion, which is why the Combine is kind of the epicenter of things like that. But Prescott not alone, as mentioned, in needing a new deal from the Cowboys. He is set to enter the final year of his current contract, as is CeeDee Lamb, as is Micah Parsons. And something interesting on Micah Parsons, and I think that you could say that about a lot of things, but on Friday, we found out not only what the salary cap was for this year, but we found out what the fifth-year option numbers were for the class of 2021. If you don't know what that means, first-round draft picks in the NFL, every rookie in the NFL that's drafted has a 4-year contract. But if you're a first-round draft pick, if obviously you're taken in the first round, you have a fifth-year option, which means after 3 getting set to enter your fourth year, which is where Micah Parsons is at, the team has a decision to make as to whether or not they want to pick up a fifth-year option for you. Obviously, it's an option. There's a value that is expensive. It's more on par with what players make relative to your position in terms of NFL veterans. And we found out what that number is. And the Cowboys will obviously pick up Micah Parsons' fifth-year option. We're going to round down here, $24 million, and that is for next year. So Micah Parsons' cap number, at the very least, because this is a fully guaranteed year worth of payment, will be $24 million. So the conversation doesn't really start at $24 million per year for Micah Parsons, but $24 million is the really, 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 really low floor for Micah Parsons. He's definitely going to make a lot of money. I mentioned the class of 2021. Parsons is not the only Cowboys player that was taken in the first round of that draft. You may have forgotten this, but the Cowboys did trade their fourth-round draft pick in this year's draft to the San Francisco 49ers in exchange for quarterback Trey Lance. Now, those of you who say, get rid of Dak, just play Trey, blah, 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 this is why this plan has never made sense. The Cowboys have to decide now, this offseason, whether or not they want to pick up Trey's fifth-year option for next year. He is on the books for 2024. But Trey Lance's fifth-year option for next year, for 2025, we're going to round, let's call it $22.4 million. There's just no way the Cowboys, even if they do pay Dak, are going to say, yeah, we're willing to fully guarantee $22.4 million for our backup quarterback maybe next year. The timing of this trade just never made sense with the Cowboys in terms of the timing of Dak Prescott's deal. And they spent a fourth-round draft pick to do it. I mean, and beyond that, if you really want to bag on the Cowboys, they're going to have to decline this option for Trey Lance, which means he's going to enter a contract year here in 2024, which is fine. But if you did think maybe the Cowboys could trade him to somebody else and at the very least recoup their investment, who's going to trade for a quarterback that is entering the final year of his contract? That team, just pick a team, whoever you think it's going to be, they're not going to want to be on the hook for this, because then they're going to have to bet against the open market if and when Trey Lance does play very good for them. So the whole Trey Lance trade, I wouldn't say blew up in the Cowboys' face, because this information was known. What we found out in factual sense on Friday was the actual option number. We had an approximation, but like I said, we do now know what it is. We know what Parsons is. There's a lot of checks that the Cowboys are going to have to be writing very, very, very soon into their top-tier, high-level playmakers. And even after those decisions, they're going to have to figure out, do they want to bring back Tyron Smith? Do they want to bring back Stephon Gilmore? Do they want to try to figure something out with Tyler Biadasz? It's an expensive thing to be good in the NFL. And even if you don't feel it to be an expensive thing, that's why you have to continue to draft well. That's why that's such an important part of the overall process. And that process begins in earnest this week, as mentioned, at the NFL Combine. But while all these things are happening there, Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer will not be there. Is that a big deal? Do you have a problem with the Mike and Mike, for the Cowboys not being at the NFL Combine? We'll get into it right after this on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set. Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas. With plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A four-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of four can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
And paid for by America First Tax Group. Attention, if you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes significantly. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you. But you must call 800-257-0663 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information Call 800-257-0663. That's 800-257-0663. Again, 800-257-0663.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Castrol Edge can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $36.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get ready for the live tennis event of the year, the Netflix Slam, on March 3rd at 12:30 p.m. Pacific. Join 22-time Grand Slam champion and tennis legend Rafael Nadal as he takes on world number 2, Carlos Alcaraz, and witness a tennis showdown like never before. This live Netflix sports event promises unparalleled tennis action, so don't miss the thrill. Mark your calendars for March 3rd, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. It's Game, Set, Match on Netflix.
The most common form of treatment for the arthritic joints is normally cortisone injections and gel shots and over-the-counter medications. And most patients have tried all of that and are still in pain.
Every day, Dr. Aaron Wolkoff, a QC Kinetics medical director, meets patients who have exhausted every method to get relief. They've been told surgery is their only option.
They want to stay away from that path, and they come to us almost as the last hope. So we're using our own body's properties to help manage pain, to help slow arthritis down, keep the patients active with no downtime, and getting back to what they enjoy doing. I mean, I love what I do.
QC Kinetics regenerative treatments from our board-certified providers help heal and restore aching joints. No surgery, harmful drugs, or downtime. Call for your free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Guys, got hair loss? I know what you're thinking. Should I shave my head? Comb it over? Wear a hat? Just stop. This isn't 1970. Keep your hair and your confidence, because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration expert, can give you your real hair back permanently. Check them out today, because they're giving away an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card to anyone that texts EXPERT to 200-300. Dude, you don't have to look like your dad, because this isn't your dad's hair loss treatment. People all over the country trust Bosley because they're ahead of the curve. They use the latest technology to give you your real hair back. And the best part, Bosley's permanent solution is protected by the Bosley Guarantee. Let Bosley show you for free how awesome your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit and a gift card for $250 off. Text EXPERT to 200-300. That's EXPERT to 200-300.
This is Jim Rome. Join me weekdays at noon on my new home, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Let's get wild.
Hello and huddle up. It is the Morning Huddle. We are 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Rob Thompson out today. My name, RJ Ochoa. You know me. You love me. Admit it. Admit it to yourself. It's the first step. I love you. That's the most important thing to say and to acknowledge around here. I said we had a surprise in store about 8 o'clock. I know we had a bit of turbulence getting off the ground this morning. It's Monday. All right, everybody be cool. But apparently we're ready to, we're ahead of schedule. Joe Reinagel from the Blitz, who's going to be flying Han style later on today, just wanted to do a lot of radio. Joe, good morning to you.
Yeah, why not? And everybody can see how lovely I look in the morning. I appreciate you letting me sleep in a little bit, RJ. It was nice of you.
Yeah, you're a big coffee person.
I am, yes. I sure am, buddy. And I have a nice hot cup right here.
Joe, you came in at the perfect time. We're going to get to silver and black in a little bit, but I said right before the break, I asked people whether they thought it was a big deal or not that Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer were not going to be at the NFL Combine this week. Is that a big deal to you?
I don't think it's a big deal. Not at all. I mean, they can do a lot more where they're at with Zoom and the technology. I don't think it's a really big deal. A lot of coaches don't make it, right? I mean, so no, I don't think it's a big deal. And I know some people probably want to make it a big deal, but Nah, I think it's
I
fine.
thought you were going to come in guns blazing about how this was, horrible and, et cetera, et cetera. I'm a little disappointed, if I'm being honest.
Well, I mean, look, I don't just bash on the Cowboys to bash on the Cowboys.
That's not true.
I tell the truth when it's appropriate to tell the truth. And some people don't like it like that. But, I'm a truth teller, RJ. That's what I do.
I agree with you for what it's worth, that it's not a big deal. It's interesting. Sean McVay's not going to be there, and that comes out, nobody bats an eye. Robert Saleh's not going to be there. He's been kind of neutered as head coach, with Aaron Rodgers, and so I don't know that anybody really cares what Robert Saleh is doing. But Mike McCarthy's in a situation where everybody's looking for some sort of reason to say why he's dumb and this is dumb and everything's dumb and stupid. Last year he didn't attend because he was putting together the offensive game plan, and that kind of worked out. So, I mean, I think he's earned the benefit of the doubt at least to say, you know what, I'm not part of the scouting department. I don't need to be there. I'll zoom in when appropriate, to your point.
Yeah, and when they want to talk to a player, that's perfectly okay. But Jerry and Steven will be there and taking center stage, and that's really all that matters. Certainly to me, anyway, and you, because that's great content anytime Jerry opens his mouth. So that's a good thing. But yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. The combine is the combine, but I think NFL teams, Cowboys, whoever you're talking about, they've got a pretty good idea of what direction they want to go and what players they're looking at. So unless somebody just, poops the bed really badly at the combine, I don't think it's a big deal.
I will say it's probably got to be interesting if you're a prospect and you go hang out with the Cowboys and it's whatever, and then you're talking to your buddy like, hey, Joe, I had a meeting with the Cowboys, and then Joe says, yeah, me too. They zoomed in Mike McCarthy, and you're just like, they didn't zoom him in for me. That's got to be an interesting kind of perspective. Ace and his lame dad on in the Brigade Bar. See, we care about our chat enough to name it, Joe. I know you guys don't on the Blitz.
Wait a minute. The name is what? The Brigade Bar?
Yeah, that's the name of the chat, the Brigade Bar. Again,
okay.
You guys could have done something cool with the Blitz, but no, that's up to y'all. Anyway, Ace.
They got to earn it first, RJ. You know what I mean?
Ace and his lame dad said in the aforementioned Brigade Bar, it's not really a big deal for them to not make it, but considering how last season ended, you would think there would be a little more urgency. I think to the point, Joe, that they might be at home because it does feel urgent. They might be at home saying, we got to work on they're assembling a defensive staff. Mike McCarthy obviously has to oversee that. They're getting on the same language. They're laying the proper foundations. I do think that this actually is representative of an urgent move. In fact, last year, McCarthy did go for kind of the opening statement and then immediately flew home. He's not doing that at all here, which again suggests that they're taking this kind of seriously.
Well, look, we say the Cowboys are taking it serious every year, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't get to where where we want it to be, or Cowboy fans certainly want it to be. But look, RJ, I think Mike McCarthy is being done a disservice. And I don't know if this has anything to do with why he's not there or if that even matters. But yeah, there's a lame duck. To me, the Cowboys would have been better off either firing the guy or giving him a contract extension. I mean, what is he going to do? I mean, wait a minute. What did you say?
Buy into us.
They're making him dance. To your point.
Yeah, exactly.
They're making him dance, which is at the very least unkind. You know what I'm saying? It's a mean thing to do, but it also is not going to serve, either side of this coin, because if he performs really well, then you have to really, really, really double down. And if he fails, well, he failed. That means you failed. You know what I mean? It's just, right. It's not a good thing if Mike McCarthy fails for anyone involved. And that's why people who were like, oh, well, how do you expect them to hire a defensive coordinator when Mike McCarthy's in a contract year? They could have fixed that. That was on them. They had all the power in the world to fix that. So maybe they said, we're not going to give you a contract extension. We're not going to allow you to expense the trip to Indianapolis and the shrimp cocktails and everything like that at St. Elmo. So you just got to stay home. You got to eat all the Pepsi products that we have there at the Star, and you're going to take it and you're going to be happy with it. Joe, you were traveling late Sunday night, so we appreciate you getting up early. Did you happen to watch or catch up on the Spurs game and the latest loss of the season?
I did. I actually did listen to some of it on the radio and then and caught the end of it once I got here to the house. I said this on Friday, RJ. It was kind of like I just don't really have anything to do with this. Like, I don't even know what to think of him. Keldon Johnson gets benched early in that game, and it's just I don't know what they're trying to do. I really don't. And if somebody could help me with that, then I would appreciate it. But it's hard to get invested in this ball club right now.
We're going to help everybody out with that because coming up next, we have Silver and Black. We do it every day, talk all things Spurs, which these days means we're talking about a lot of losses. 2 of them since we last spoke to you, one on Friday, one on Sunday. Spurs drop games to LA, to Utah, and we're talking about how broken they are, except for one guy. His name is Victor Wembanyama. Go get a coffee, go get a donut, get a kolache for Joe Reinego. We'll be back with more after this on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Talk.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on The Blitz, how'd the weekend go for the San Antonio Spurs? Still out on the road on that Rodeo Road Trip. We'll recap and look ahead. Plus, the NFL Combine gets underway in Indianapolis. A lot to talk about. We'll get it started at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price to have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Hey, this is Rob Thompson here for Prize Picks. If you have downloaded the Prize Picks app and you're playing, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to those that think that there's something out of reach. If you want to play a game that your skill plays a role in, I want you to download Prize Picks because it's about more or less. It's not about winning and losing. Use your knowledge to pick out who is going to do the best and decide whether it's going to be more or less. A couple of clicks before you know it, you're playing the game. And it's all about the knowledge. Download Prize Picks. You'll see what I'm talking about. Basketball is in full swing. The tournament's just around the corner. There is no better way to apply your knowledge than Prize Picks. You know your guys. You know what they're capable of. Is it higher or lower? 2 or 3 clicks, more and more X's, more and more money. And if you download Prize Picks now and use the word Alamo in your promo code, there's $100 to play with. More or less, a couple of clicks, go do it. It's Prize Picks. Start play today. Thank me later.
The way the NBA season is going in San Antonio, you need to find a way to add excitement to watching those games. Jason Minix here from The Blitz. The way to do that is by playing at Underdog at Fantasy. Go download the Underdog Fantasy app and start playing the Pick'em game, where you pick between 2 and 5 players from at least 2 different teams. Select whether they will be higher or lower on stats, and if your picks hit, you can win up to 100 times your money. It is fantasy, but legal in Texas. So download the Underdog Fantasy app or go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up, use my promo code STAR, and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. Plus, they'll give you a mystery special pick to use on your first pick'em entry. Must be over 18 and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Again, promo code STAR at UnderdogFantasy.com.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 210-615-7777 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Progressive presents advice on new teen drivers.
You know, the hardest part about teaching your teen to drive is the chafing from the seatbelt. But the best part is the grip strength you build in your knuckles. Okay, now let's pull out of the driveway.
Here's another tip. Offset a chunk of the cost of adding a teen to your insurance with Progressive's Teen Driver Discount and get a break from the break. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states or situations.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, KTFM Floresville. Your home for the NFL. San Antonio's Sports Center.
In the NFL, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported over the weekend that the Cowboys and representatives for Dak Prescott have not had any substantial talks about a long-term contract. The NFL Combine starts this week. Mike McCarthy, Mike Zimmer will not be there. The San Antonio Spurs lost to the Jazz on Sunday night. Devin Vassell had 27 points. UTSA got the win. Texas Tech did not. We're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas Authority in Barricade Rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
Wembanyama three. Good! Goes behind the back here. Oh! Little sidestep and a jam by Wembanyama. Drive. Oh, it's knocked away by Wembanyama.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. With Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here's Rob and RJ.
Hi, hello there, and good morning. It is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Rob Thompson out today, the incomparable Easy E on the ones and twos. My name is RJ Ochoa. With us here this morning, a very special treat, the internationally famous Joe Reinagle. Joe, top of the morning to you.
Good morning, RJ. It's good to be with you this morning.
Joe, it's 7 o'clock, which means it's time for Silver and Black. And I want to kind of come into this in a certain way. I think sometimes I can have an eclectic sort of thought process. I think that that's pretty well known. You got a coffee in your hand. You put sugar in there?
I don't. No, I'm a straight black guy.
Okay.
No cream, no sugar, no nothing.
That doesn't really work for the analogy, but we're just going to go and pretend that you do. All right.
Okay. All right. So, fine. Yeah.
Well, so you're a fan of the song "Pour Some Sugar on Me," right? At the very least. Something that's always bothered me about the song is, so the whole premise is pour some sugar on me, right? In the bridge, he says, "Do you take sugar?" He's asking whoever's involved here, and then what does he say after that?
Yeah, you got me, dude.
He says, "Do you take sugar?" And then he says, "1 lump or 2." Okay, that's what he says in the song. So we've established that the unit of measurement of sugar, the sugar available comes in lumps, but he's asking you to pour it on him. So we're just going to pour a bunch of lumps of, it's not like grainy. He's not saying, "Do you want a teaspoon of sugar? Do you want a packet of sugar?" He's saying, do you want a lump of sugar? Pour some of these cubes on me. There would be nothing cool or sexy about this process. It would actually be maybe dangerous to have all these lumps of sugar, kind of falling in your eyes. So I've always thought of the song that way. And again, that's the way my brain works. I don't know what to think of the San Antonio Spurs at this point. I'm out of options. I'm out of thoughts. I'm out of really just kind of patience for them. Dropping another one on Sunday night to the Utah Jazz, 128-109. They, of course, lost on Friday night to the Lakers, but Wemby did drop a 5 for 5. That was pretty cool. We got that toy, that, bright and shiny, brand new piece of NBA history added to the collection of Wemby's. Can't believe he did that collection. Meanwhile, the Spurs lost their 400th game in a row.
It's sad. And I said this going into the break. I really don't know what to think of this team because I don't think it's going to look anything like it looks now come next year. At least I hope it doesn't. And I really hope that the Spurs are aggressive in the offseason. And I think that's what Spurs fans can hold on to right now. When I watch these games and watching and listening to that game last night, it sounded like a very – well, first of all, I guess we could give them the excuse that they were tired, right? Third game in 4 nights, although they are the youngest team in the NBA. So that shouldn't matter. But it was a very lazy game to me, watching it. The Spurs just kind of going through the motions. And boy, especially the way they started out. It was just like they'd rather been anywhere else than Salt Lake City, Utah, which, I necessarily can't blame them for that. But I just don't know what to think of this team. And I think it's going to look much different as we go into next year than it does now. And for me, RJ, quite honestly, man, I just don't understand why the Spurs chose to do what they're doing this year. It just seems like a wasted year to me for a talent such as Wembanyama.
You go through tanking, and there's always a level of discourse, right? When a team's in a tanking situation, I want to tank because I want to improve. I want to get the number one pick, whatever. No, every game matters. You play to win the game, all these stupid things that you heard in high school a million different times. But we did it. We actually did that thing. And not only did we do that thing, but we got the number one overall pick. Like, that's one reason you do it. And then you do that so that you hope that guy is amazing. That happened. like we already we went through the hard part of all this. And they're worse with Wemby is so unfathomable. I agree with you. It was a really lazy effort, and I know you're not actually excusing them, but you can miss me with this, oh, they're tired crap. Like, it's the Rodeo Road Trip, man. Like, they're not unfamiliar with this. Welcome to playing for the San Antonio Spurs. And even then, welcome to just life in the NBA. And so I feel like the Spurs, for the most part, have done a great job of towing the company line of, no, this is the season. Everybody's got to be patient. But it did feel like on Sunday we saw a little bit of a crack in that armor. Keldon Johnson was benched after 4 minutes, and this felt honestly kind of stupid to me. I mean, because if Denver does something like this, right? If one of the best teams in the NBA does, you're like, okay, cool, send a message, right? Like, we're all with you. But who the hell are you, Spurs, to act like, we've got to bench Keldon Johnson? I mean, we've got to really prove a point here. Mitch Johnson spoke after the game, obviously, on what happened here, why Keldon was benched after just 4 minutes of play.
Just repetitive mistakes. Sometimes you need to change up the messaging or change up the accountability or how you do things, and Pop's the best at it. So
accountability, Joe.
Accountability. Well, look, Keldon Johnson, if I was a gambling man, which I am, RJ, I would bet that they are going to try and see him in a different uniform next year. And I think that's just the way it is. I don't think he has responded the way they hoped he would when they drafted him and brought him along. And so I think he's not long for San Antonio. And I think what Pop was doing with benching a guy like Keldon Johnson, he's been talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. And these guys are just not getting any better. They're not. They're making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And I think if you're Greg Popovich, you got to say, well, I mean, at some point, I got to start taking drastic action. I think Pop has coddled these guys in ways that I have never seen Greg Popovich do before. And everybody tells me, well, it's a new brand of player and kids today and yada, yada, yada. And I just don't buy that. You play professional basketball. You either do it right or you don't do it at all. And if you're afraid to get yelled at, well, then maybe you should find another profession.
I agree with you entirely. Maybe that, I mean, the generation or whatever is kind of, I think, whatever. But the weird thing for me here is now you're this person. Like we've been asking you to be this team, this level of disciplinarian all season long, because these kinds of mistakes are like why was it enough all of a sudden on February 25th? You know what I mean? Like it just feels it kind of feels like when somebody has maybe some unruly kids and family or friends come over and the kid does something that they've done all the time. They go and they get a snack out of their fridge. What are you doing? And the kid's like, dude, what are you like? You've never cared before when I would break the rules like this. Now all of us, and I don't know what they're trying to save face for. Maybe they finally say, let's just try something different. What's going to happen? We're going to lose another game. And in that respect, I guess I kind of applaud them for at least not losing the exact same way. And it's really sad that that's what it's come down to, is that, hey, at least you lost in a slightly different manner than you did on Friday night against the Lakers.
And that's what's funny about it, RJ, is we're applauding the Spurs for the way they played against Sacramento and the Los Angeles Lakers. They hung in there. They didn't get blown out. Especially that Sacramento game. It was a game that they had a chance to win that thing. And that's what it's come to. And that's what's sad about it all, is the fact that we're applauding these guys for just staying close. Look, I don't care if Spurs fans are spoiled. I don't care what the answer is. you deserve, if you're a paying fan, or even if you're not, if you're a Spurs fan, you deserve the best product that can be out on the floor. And the Spurs failed miserably with that. And again, I don't think anybody will ever admit it in the Spurs front office, but this was a disaster. And it's been a waste, for me at least, for Victor Wembanyama's first year. And I know that he's playing well and seems to be adjusting to the NBA, and that's the one positive we'll take out of this. But for you not to surround this kid with some better talent, some veteran leadership, to me is just a huge mistake.
The Spurs turned the ball, Joe, over 20 times on Sunday night. 20. And if that sounds like a lot, like it's one thing when you hear a stat like that and you're like, oh, that's probably a lot. And then you find out that's actually kind of normal. But they turned the ball over 20 times. That was the most that a team had in an NBA game since the Clippers last year on February 24th. Yesterday was February 25th. So it was almost the exact 1 year anniversary. And you do this one day after history. Or not one day, one game after history. On Friday night, Wemby dropped a 5-for-5 night, 5x5. Again, whatever nomenclature you want to use against the Lakers. He was the first rookie to do this since Jamal Tinsley in 2001 and became just the second player to have 5 blocks and 5 steals in consecutive games, joining Michael Jordan. This is the dude that we're talking about, and then they're getting waxed by the Jazz. I mean, it's really difficult to believe that these things are happening simultaneously.
Well, it is, and it's sad. It really is. To me, it's sad. And look, when David Robinson came into this team, he had some veteran leadership around him. When Tim Duncan came here, there was some veteran leadership around him. And for the Spurs to choose to just go as is with this team, and maybe I'll give them a little bit of a break, RJ, because I mean, let's face it, they won 22 games last year. So you figure the same team, you add Wembanyama, they'll be a little bit better. Well, they're worse. Give them some time to get used to this guy, get all of that. But now, I mean, the season's almost over, and they're not getting any better. And that's why I believe you got to look at this team and completely clean house. But there's got to be some veteran leadership in the mix here, and whether that's superstars like a Trae Young or just veterans that are, mid-level guys. You got to get them in here, and Wemby needs that. He needs that on the floor. You can have Tim Duncan all day long at the practice facility, but you need a guy that can say, hey, did you see what that guy just did to you there? Here's what you need to do to counter it. That on-the-spot stuff is what Wemby is not getting right now.
Wemby was asked about this phenomenon on Friday night and about the comparison to Jordan specifically, and he said, I wonder if he did it in wins. And for what it's worth, MJ did. I kind of like that. I kind of like the passive aggressiveness from Wemby. Like, I agree with you. It would be wonderful to have veteran leadership. Sign me up for Trae Young right now. Whatever you want, let's do it. Like, I'm absolutely on board with that. But at the very least, Wemby, and I know it's unfair to expect him to do more on top of the just stupid Herculean amazing things he's already doing, but that's what happens when you're this great of a player. And so the veteran leadership is not going to come from the rookie. And so I kind of like that, again, that little dig, you know what I mean? That like, oh yeah, well, we're losing. And like, he's pissed off. He's an all world talent. Like, he's not used to being the joke of anything like this.
He should be pissed off. I mean, I would be. The guy's used to winning. And again, there was a learning curve for him getting into the NBA and understanding how to do it. Because look, it's a higher level than anything he's ever done. I don't care. There's no, knock on the French league, but the NBA is the best talent in the world, the best athletes in the world. There's no question, and there's no argument for that. So it takes him a little time to get things, understand how things work in the NBA. And he's done that. He's showing that he belongs. He's showing that he can play. The problem is he's got nobody to play around him. Devin Vassell seems to be playing well, and I think he's a piece moving forward. Other than that, RJ, I'm not sure that anybody else is. Jeremy Sohan was a disaster last night. I mean, the guy looked like he never played basketball in his life. And so I just think that everybody besides Wemby and possibly Devin Vassell is expendable at this point. And I think the Spurs have got to make this team look a lot different than it does by the start of next season.
Yeah, if you look like Charles Barkley after the Monstars took his talent, it's not a good look for you, Jeremy.
Not at all.
So, yeah, actually, before you joined this morning, I opened the question to the Brigade Bar and to the world at large. I saw a tweet last Friday. I think it was Friday, it might have been Thursday. It said something like, how many Spurs outside of Wemby, obviously, on this roster are on it in 10 years? And my mental thought was like 10 years. I was like, I can't, there's definitely nobody, but even 2 years from now, I mean, Wemby and Devin, that's it. Like, they're the only ones that I don't even know that I would bet on Devin being on the roster in 2 years. I mean, you said you're a gambling man. Would you gamble on Wemby is, again, an obvious name, but would you gamble on even Devin being in this roster? Because I would bet that nobody outside of at least the two of them is going to be on this team in 2026.
Well, yeah, I mean, I hope not. I mean, I really do. I hope the fact that there is a big change. Spurs have plenty of money. They've got a closet full of draft picks. They're going to have another high draft pick, if not the number one draft pick this year, because they're going to be back in the lottery. They're going to have a lot of opportunities to get that number one pick. And it's what do you do with it? Everybody looks at Oklahoma City, RJ, and says the Spurs are trying to model themselves after that. Well, okay, that's fine. But you got to draft well. Oklahoma City has done that. The Spurs have not. And if you're looking at a Keldon Johnson, it looks like, to me anyway, that maybe that was not a good pick. Josh Primo, not necessarily the Spurs' fault. The guy was a weirdo. So, I mean, that's the way that worked out. But, I mean, you got to draft well. Just because you have draft picks doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're going to build a franchise and build a championship team. You have to draft well. And the Spurs have got to get it right, but they've got to get a mix of veterans in here as well.
I agree with you, and I want us to remember this energy. I got so mad, and we were talking about this in Vegas, but I got so mad at Cowboys fans, as an example, who were like, oh, man, the Mike Zimmer hire is amazing. And I was like, man, y'all were just pissed off like 2 weeks ago. What happened? Where did that energy go? You know what I mean? Now all of a sudden you're willing to kind of come back, and I get that sports are more fun when when we enjoy the teams that we root for. But remember how this feels on February 26th. Remember how pissed off you are after another 4-game, whatever game losing streak, however many it's going to get up to right now. Remember that if and when, Joe, the Spurs don't trade for Trae Young. Because if and when something like that doesn't happen, there's going to be all these people in Spurs Twitter, oh, no, this is all, just trust them. No, like, remember how this feels. Because if they do trade, again, Trae Young just kind of represents a hypothetical here. If they don't do anything like that, then there's no reason to trust them, right? Like, this was not this. I would argue it isn't even worth it now. You're throwing away an all-time season. Granted, it's the rookie one for Wemby, but you're throwing it away in the name of future production, future building, whatever. If you don't take a serious move in the offseason, then we have absolutely no reason to believe that you're ever going to do it.
They have to, and I just don't see them not doing that. I think that that you're going to see some serious movement in the offseason. I think that, look, Pop wants to win. They know what they have in Wembanyama, and you can't build the team the way it is currently constructed. We've seen that. It's been a miserable failure. You go out, you change things up, and you build around Wembanyama, but I still believe that you've got to have some guys that have been in this league a while that can help this guy. Pop said it the other day, they need shooters. They're going to have to go out. He's already indicated that you got to go out and find some shooters, and I'm not sure you're going to find that in the draft. That will help you right away. Spurs, again, plenty of money, draft picks to trade with and to play with, and there's no reason that this administration, the management of the Spurs, doesn't go out and be very aggressive this offseason. They have to be. And nobody's saying that we want to, they're going to win a championship next year. But for goodness sake, they won 11 games this year. I mean, can we get to 25, maybe 30? I mean, can we see some improvement? I haven't seen any improvement at all in this ball club this year other than Victor Wembanyama.
They won 11 games, and this is a silly way to measure it, but that's okay. Can you close your eyes and think of, like, damn, what a game they played? Like, what game comes to mind when you can you think of one this season?
I got to go all the way back to the Phoenix games when they beat the Suns back to back early in the season.
Okay.
Yeah, those games, and they did beat Minnesota, right? At one point, win at home. That was a pretty good game.
That's mine.
Right, flashes, but. And here's the issue, too. You don't think the Timberwolves remember that? Spurs have to go there tomorrow night. So that could get ugly really quick.
Well, there's a lot of retribution to be paid, I think, on that front. Along those lines, were you affected by the service outage as the weekend begins?
Yeah, I've got AT&T service. And
well,
so,
I just saw
yeah,
something, and I saw something right now that AT&T, and I guess a congratulations to you. AT&T is apparently going to reimburse customers $5. Have you seen this yet?
Really? I have not. I'll take it.
So you're gonna get $5 as some retribution for the. I do like, because how would you quantify that? Like, how would you say, oh, you lost whatever, I don't know, 16 hours worth of service, like that's worth $2.19, whatever. But so you get $5 as retribution. What could the Spurs give you outside of a title next year that would serve as retribution? What could be the $5? For me, it is Trae Young. And I'm gonna put that specific name, not what he represents. You got to go get somebody out that can handle this. You've got to go get a general. You've got to go get somebody who can distribute things, because Trae Young can make a lot of this look better. I love the ball in Wemby's hands, don't get me wrong, but you need somebody who is a tried and true veteran, somebody who can move, somebody who's agile, quick, et cetera, et cetera. If you get Trae Young, that's my $5 for my power or my service outage.
Well, that's I would even go as far as to say that might even be 10, RJ. So that would be great, and I would love to see that. Look, everybody says the point guard is no longer, and it's not necessary. I completely disagree. As much as people want to change the game of basketball, it stays the same to me. You need a quarterback on the floor, and that's what a point guard is. And you get a guy in there like a Trae Young who can do that. That would be fantastic. But get somebody. Jones, Trae Jones is fine. He's adequate. I think he'd make a great guy off the bench. If you want to keep him around, that's fine. But you need to get somebody that can lead this team and that can help Wembanyama be even better. I mean, I just think we're scratching the surface with Wemby. And
we're not even
scratching
scratching the surface. This is the free sample of ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the little spoon before you actually pick a flavor to ultimately say like, oh, I want, chocolate chip or a cookie dough or whatever the case may be. But because I mean, like he's pulling off, like we're out of words to describe these historic achievements. I mean, Friday night was a masterpiece, and LeBron was all impressed. Did you hear what LeBron had to say about how he's not with him every day, by the way? Did you hear this?
No, tell me. Let me hear him.
So LeBron, obviously highly impressed by Wemby. How could you not be? But he had a line about how he doesn't get to see Wemby every day. Well, let's just hear. This is the king on what Wemby did on Friday night against the Lakers.
He doesn't have a ceiling, so he do whatever he wants to do with his career. He seems like he enjoys the game. He seems like he puts the work just from the outside looking in. Obviously, I'm not with him on a day-to-day basis, but I said a long time ago how special, he was. It's literally that simple.
So LeBron's not with him every day. That kind of, if I'm really trying to read between the lines, Joe, that's like LeBron saying, "I'll be your $5." Like I'll be there every day. Like just a interesting comment given the chatter about LeBron and the upcoming summer.
That's a fantasy wish, I think. I mean, who knows what LeBron's going to decide to do and where he wants to play with his kid. If it's a package deal with LeBron and his kid, I'll pass. I really will.
Joe, come on.
I'll pass because look, his kid's
even if you send Bronny to Austin,
you'd have to. That's where he belongs. I don't think LeBron's going to come here. I hope I'm proven wrong. With that, it would be fantastic. Spurs fans would love it, and it would be outstanding. I don't think he's coming here. But again, there are guys out there and with the money that Spurs have to spend, they can get it done. LeBron, the compliments, that's nice. That's very good. The only thing I would say about Wemby, RJ, is I wish he'd stop shooting threes. I know he's a big guy that can shoot, but he doesn't make a lot of them. So, if he just stopped doing that, I think it'd be perfect.
If these were remotely normal circumstances, I would agree with you. At this point, what do we have to lose? Like at this point, what you're doing, Joe, is you're going to the circus and you're saying, I think it's weird that y'all sell cotton candy. You know what I mean? Just sell peanuts. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? We're at the circus. That's where we're at right now. And so if he wants to shoot threes, so be it. If he doesn't, so be it. Work on the game. That's all. These are just glorified practices right now for the Spurs. And I hate to say that, but I mean, the facts kind of speak for themselves in that capacity.
Look, I agree with that completely. and just get better if you're Victor. Just get better over there's 20 some odd games left in the season. Just get better and get ready for next season. You'll have a full off season that you can work and get better. But look, it's hard to get invested in this team. It really is at this point in time, because I truly believe it's going to look much different next year than it does this year. I don't know who's going to be here. So, you're watching a guy and other than Wemby, and everybody's watching Wemby, but you get invested. Well, this guy, I see improvement over here. And this guy, he's got potential. I just can't get invested in this team as it stands right now. It's going to be very difficult to continue to watch other than Wemby, because he's the and I don't mean this disparaging, but he's the biggest attraction, the biggest clown that there is at the circus right now. And so that's what you're paying your money to see.
Well, on the subject of investment and paying money, Dak Prescott is potentially in need of a contract extension with the Dallas Cowboys. Word is there have not been any substantial talks. I'm certain that Joe Reinagle has something substantial to say about that. We'll get into it right after this here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on the Blitz, how'd the weekend go for the San Antonio Spurs? Still out on the road on that Rodeo Road Trip. We'll recap and look ahead. Plus, the NFL Combine gets underway in Indianapolis. A lot to talk about. We'll get it started at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Yesterday, the last several days, actually for weeks on end, I have had to walk miles a day, not only to take my dog around the neighborhood, but to keep myself in physical shape. The Super Bowl last week was a busy and hectic week that I've spent a lot of time on my feet. And if I was still 300 pounds, I can't imagine if I could have done it. Again, thanks to Dr. Torres and the Institute for Functional Health for getting me as far as I've gotten. I'm down 75 pounds, man. That's 6 years ago. I waddled into his office thinking, man, this is what life's going to be like, that I'm just old and it's just going to wear out. And I'll tell you what, who'd have thought that I could have done this week what I've been doing? 8-9 miles a day in some of these instances. I kid you not, 27,000 feet or steps last Monday. That's the kind of stuff that I'm now capable. I couldn't even have done. And I'm 6 years older than when I first met Dr. Torres. If you've resolved, I want you to call him. If you've resolved, I want you to find out why so many people have walked into his office, his beautiful place down there in McCullough, just like you, thinking, well, this is it. If this don't work, it ain't going to work for anybody. Well, I'll tell you what, you're going to find out what I know it will. I want you to call him today. Number's 210-468-1891. For all the pertinence, I want you to go to IFFhealth.com. Great resource, by the way. Call Dr. Torres today. He's going to help get you where you want to go. When you do, I want you to thank me later.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
We're honoring the pursuit of brews and barrel-aged bourbon every Friday at our Bourbon and Brews Party. Head over to Twin Peaks Fridays from 5 to 7 and experience a lingerie costume party paired with exceptional bourbons, tastings, and giveaways. Cheers!
Let our team keep your home running comfortable and worry-free. Call on Mr. Electric for all your electrical needs. 210-248-2026. Or get a hold of us online at MrElectric.com and enter your zip code.
License number TECL 34221.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
The NFL is on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Time to get wild indeed. The Morning Huddle here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Rob Thompson out today. RJ Ochoa here. Joe Reinagle with the DH. For you, Joe, do you have maybe a second or third cup of coffee on deck?
Yeah, well, in fact, I just poured a third cup right now. So, yeah, a third cup was, this is early. I usually get up about this time or so, but take my time, have some coffee. I'll go to the gym about 8 o'clock, 8:15, and then come home, start preparing for the show. So it's a little bit different, RJ. But the fact that, the powers that be there at San Antonio Sports Star showed me how to do this thing from home. That was kind of nice.
Yeah, well, they had to install the satellite dish on your roof and, put all the wiring for your living room and everything. So, I mean, it's a bit of a journey, but, it works at the very least. But we're grateful that it does. We knew we were going to be doing this together. We were all excited because I said we're definitely going to talk Dak Prescott. Obviously, Dak Prescott is set to enter the final year of his contract with the Cowboys, has a $60 million cap hit. We all know the kind of facts as they lie. If the Cowboys, Joe, are going to extend Dak Prescott, and there's certainly logic to offer that idea as being the best one, it would behoove them to do so prior to the beginning of free agency on March 13th so that they can use the salary cap space they would generate to fill out the rest of the roster. Appearing on Saturday's Sports Center, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that the Cowboys and Dak Prescott's representation haven't had any substantial talks. I kind of find this to be a whole lot of baloney just because, I mean, that's 2 weeks away. This is posturing. This is, one side negotiating, the other side negotiating, et cetera, et cetera. Do you buy this? Do you buy that there haven't been any substantial talks between the Cowboys and Dak?
I think there have been, RJ, but the thing is the Cowboys, this is par for the course, isn't it, with them and Dak Prescott? With the 2 franchise tags, and then they waited until the price for quarterbacks went up, and they had to pay Dak the contract that he's currently under. I love Jerry Jones. I do. I love the guy, but I don't know what in the world he was thinking with this contract for Dak Prescott, because Prescott has got all the leverage in this thing, everything that he could imagine and want. And I just don't think Jerry's got any options here, honestly, other than to sign him to an extension if he wants to put a winning team on the field next year. He could let Dak play it out and all that, but we know the cap hit, and they wouldn't be able to do much of anything else. So I don't think he has a choice here. And so, yeah, I think there have been talks. The Cowboys are going to try and get as friendly a deal as they possibly can. And I think Dak's saying, look, this could be my last big deal, and I'm not going to give an inch.
Joe, a lot of people have typecasted you as a Dak Prescott hater, and you're always saying, look, I just tell the truth. Everything you said was factual. I got to give you some props and some credit because whether you like or hate Dak, and I don't mean you specifically, but you have to acknowledge that the Cowboys have just epically bungled this every step of the way. I'm pro player. I want each player in every sport to get as much money as humanly possible. But if you asked me how the Cowboys have handled this relative to their goals, which are to get the most bang for their buck, this has been a total and a colossal failure from day one when they began initial extension conversations with him after his rookie year. They dragged or drug their feet in 2019 when the Eagles paid Carson Wentz and the Rams paid Jared Goff, and they thought that they could, weaponize the brand of the Cowboys, and they had all their henchmen go out and, kind of toe the company line, and even their alumni were saying, oh, there's a lot of value to being a Cowboy. That didn't work. It blew up in their face. They tagged him, and he called them out, and it worked out for him. And because of all that, they had to do this deal at this exact length. They had to include the no tag clause, the no trade clause. You're right. Dak has all of it. And people say, well, why did they do this deal? Because they had no choice when they gave him this extension, and they put themselves in a position where they were painted in a corner, and then they're at the exact same spot now. And here we go. We're getting closer and closer and closer to the beginning of free agency. There are fewer and fewer grains of sand in the hourglass, Joe, and they're going to have no choice again. I mean, they're going to have to make Dak Prescott the highest paid player in the history of the NFL. I think it's worth it in a general sense to pay him and keep him around because, like you said, it establishes that you have a chance at being a winning team and obviously at winning the Super Bowl. But it did not have to be this way. There has been zero effort to be proactive here from the Cowboys. They're always chasing their tail.
Well, here's the deal, and to me, it doesn't matter. They're going to pay Dak $60 million, $62 million. I saw now with the new salary cap. That's where it could be in that range. Look, paying Dak that kind of money, you're going to pay CD Lamb most likely. And then you've got to still, you can wait a little bit, I suppose, with a Micah Parsons. Look, RJ, I think the Cowboys window is about this open. I mean, and I'm talking about an inch. I thought it was wide open last year, the best opportunity the Cowboys have had to move deep into the playoffs, if not to the Super Bowl. They blew that. They completely blew it. And now I think with all the money you're going to have tied up in 3 or 4 players, I think the Cowboys are in trouble. And Jerry Jones is all in. Okay, we'll re-sign our guys, and if that's what he means by that. I just don't think this team is going to be as good next year as it was this year. And so if you're a Cowboy fan, and I know you certainly are, I have no reason to be optimistic about the Cowboys doing anything next season, pretty much like they did this year.
There's a phenomenon, I don't even say a phenomenon, just a fact of life called regression to the mean, right? Eventually, everything kind of stabilizes. And after 2021, when Trayvon Diggs had 1 million interceptions, it always felt, I mean, if there is anything in the NFL that doesn't stick year to year, it's things like that. It's defensive success. Generally, regression to the mean happens more commonly on the defensive side of the ball. Now, the Cowboys defense kind of fell apart over the second half of last season, but in all likelihood, they're going to be worse as an overall group. So you're going to have to put even more on the shoulders of the offense and therefore the literal shoulders of Dak Prescott. And I agree with you that the window is closing. And I wouldn't say that's necessarily true because of the talent or the lack of it, but because it just gets harder. I mean, it gets harder and harder and harder. And the Cowboys have had the fortune, no pun intended, or the ability to be able to try to go at this with CD Lamb on his rookie contract. You mentioned he's due up. He's entering the final year of his deal. You do not want to do that because then you give him even more leverage. And that's another example. They could have paid CD a year ago. They could have, if they wanted to, extended him a year ago, and it would have costed a lot of money, but it would have costed a lot less than it's going to cost now because you waited and he put forth literally the greatest statistical season that any Dallas Cowboys wide receiver ever has. And they just do not learn their lesson here, Joe. And that's what really bothers me. Players are eligible for extensions after their first 3 seasons in the NFL. They didn't take advantage of that with Dak. They didn't take advantage of that with CD. And I get your logic in saying, oh, take care of Dak, take care of CD. Those are the more pressing ones. You don't have to worry about Micah Parsons. What if this coming season is finally the defensive player of the year season for Micah Parsons? What if you drag your feet there and, you always want to do, if you believe players to be cornerstones of your franchise, you want to take care of these as soon as possible because the price is only going to go up. And it's amazing that they still haven't learned that lesson with Dak. I mean, this is the second go around, more than that if you count all the tags with that they've had with him relative to contract extension talks. And they continue to, for whatever far-fetched reason to believe, oh, it's going to be different. We're going to be the one team that doesn't have to make their quarterback the highest paid player in NFL history when 100% of recent history suggests that is totally and completely not true.
Dak is going to demand to be paid as the highest paid quarterback just because he can. And he's got, again, all the leverage. I don't know if I see all these rumors flying around and scenarios that a trade here, a trade there. That's not going to happen. Look, Cowboys got to sign this guy because Jerry backed him into a corner. He's got to get it done. And he'll get it done, and I think they will. What happens after that is going to be interesting to see. Cowboys, the problem is, RJ, the Cowboys have a lot of holes to fill. You talk about Dak, CD, and Micah. Well, you need somebody to replace Leighton Vander Esch. That was a glaring weakness in the Cowboys defense. Is Mozzie Smith going to be any better this year than he was last year? That's a big question mark. You got to find a running back. I think they can do that in the draft. That is the one position that they could do. They'll save a little bit of money with Michael Gallup. I think he's gone. He'll be playing somewhere else if he's playing. But they've got so much work to do and so many holes to fill. That offensive line's another thing. Tyron Smith, you keep that guy around and hope you get 12 games out of him. There's so many question marks for the Cowboys. It's not just the cornerstone guys that you're talking about. They got a lot of work to do, man, and I just don't know if they can get it all done.
I don't think they can. It's going to bite them somehow, some way. J4 says in the Brigade Bar, they better not wait for Justin Jefferson to get his contract before they pay CD. And all their attention has to be on Dak right now because that's the biggest contract that they're going to work up, obviously, over the offseason. But CD's is not going to – I mean, they'll be far behind because quarterback money is crazy. But CD's deal is going to be insane. I mean, it's going to be the highest paid wide receiver contract in NFL history. But to J4's point, you wait for Justin Jefferson to get paid. Guess what? The price goes up. Jamar Chase is eligible for an extension. You wait for him to get paid. Guess what? The price goes up. And they have not learned that lesson. I mean, and it's amazing. I mean, they burned their hand on the stove time after time after time after time. And they just keep putting their hand up there. I mean, like, what are you doing? I mean, it's insane. You have to do these things as soon as possible. And perhaps the combine offers, the first, face-to-face opportunity for them to meet with representatives for both Dak and CD and to kind of hammer these things out. But the Dak thing has to be done prior to the beginning of free agency. So not only does Dak have all of the leverage, and people act like he doesn't, there's not a crumb of leverage that Dak doesn't have. I mean, he literally has it all. And as the days go by, the clock just continues to work and work more in his favor. I mean, I can't fathom, honestly, how they've really just put themselves on this. It's a masterpiece in ineptitude that they have wound up right here.
Not only that, Dak Prescott probably threw a party on Friday when the salary cap numbers came out. And he knows what they are. So does CD, so does Micah, and so does every other player that's up. They saw the money that the teams now
Micah
have.
tweeted about it, to your point.
Absolutely. And he should have. I mean, these guys, and look, I don't begrudge anybody that's going to get paid. But this Dak Prescott contract, the one that is currently operating, has got to be the worst deal for any franchise that I've ever seen. And to Jerry's, I don't know, credit or defense, he thought that Dak Prescott was going to be the guy. When he signed him, waited too long, but when they finally did it, I got my guy. This is the guy that's going to lead us to the promised land. Obviously, that hasn't happened, but it was just a horrible deal for the Dallas Cowboys organization. Prescott loved it, and Prescott's going to love his new deal. And people are going to lose their minds, including me, although I've kind of settled into the fact that this guy's going to make $62 million a year for the next 5 years. And you just have to live with it. But the Cowboys are going to live with it as the Washington Commanders get better, as the Giants have got to get better. They can't be much worse. And that division's going to get better. And there are a lot of good teams coming up, and it's going to be much harder for the Cowboys moving forward to get out of the NFC than it was just this prior year.
Miggy V1203 says in the Brigade Bar, what if the lesson they learned is that they aren't going to extend Dak and they're going to plan without him? That will be a very expensive lesson if so, because he accounts for $60 million against the $255 million salary cap this year. And if you think Trey Lance is an option, well, we found out his option year is valued at $22 million for 2025. So that doesn't work out. We'll explain the intricacies of that in just a little bit. But coming up next, Joe, there is all sorts of discourse about storming the court in basketball games. And so where are you at? Where is everybody at? We would love to hear from you. 656-ESPN, 656-3776. We had another fiasco happen with fans at Wake Forest storming the court against Duke. We're going to talk about it and whether or not you're for it, you're against it, you think it should stay, you think it should be banned. Let us know what you happen to think. At Joe Reinagle 210 on Twitter, at RJOJoe. We'll be back after this on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas with plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair is gone, all thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Asante came to TurboTax after graduating from culinary school and landing a job in the hottest kitchen in town.
My hands are full all day, every day. I love it.
Asante, as your TurboTax expert, I'll make your moves count, guaranteeing 100% accurate filing and your maximum refund. Sound good?
Yes, expert.
Switch to Intuit TurboTax and guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Hello, this is Chip with Diamond J Properties. You're invited to our coastal waterfront grand opening this Saturday, where you can get 2 acres with bay access for only $49.9. That's right, 2 acres bay access for only $49.9. This coastal waterfront community has over 4 miles of water frontage with access to the ICW, Gulf, Matagorda Bay, and much more. Property features paved roads, underground utilities, boat launch, pier, pool, cabana, and more. This property is shown by appointment only. Call now, 210-853-0389. 210-853-0389. 210-853-0389. 210-853-0389.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hop on over to Family Dollar for everything Easter this year. Find great buys on pre-filled Easter baskets or craft your own with a variety of plushes, candies, and toys. Only at Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Gomez Law Firm has been taking care of the people of San Antonio for almost 50 years, the leader in personal injury law. Jose, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
We do ride-sharing cases, 18-wheeler cases. Obviously, we've done those for very many years. Work injuries. We will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then you need to visit joegomezlaw.com.
We've been around for almost 50 years, and we're not going anywhere.
Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736-4040.
Hey, it's Jim Rome, and it's great to be back in San Antonio. Join me weekdays at noon on my new home, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. It is the Morning Huddle here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I'm RJ Ochoa. He is Joe Reinagel. Joe, what did you eat for dinner last night?
Last night for dinner, what did I have last night?
You can do this.
I had a Whataburger, actually, is what I had.
Hey.
Yeah, a little jalapeno Whataburger with cheese, and it was delicious.
Good for you. I have a friend who works for NFL Research, and she that wasn't meant to be a humble brag, but she tweeted at me last week that she had Whataburger. She's from California, and she was like, "This sucks," and I was like, "You suck." But in the photo, the wrapper was the white wrapper, and I quote tweeted it, and I was so proud of my followers who were just dragging her. They were like, "This doesn't even have cheese. You know, you did this wrong." So it's really cool to see. So good for you doing it right.
Of course,
Joe. There is a high level of discord over the courts in basketball, college basketball specifically. Over the weekend, Wake Forest beat Duke, and as a result, Wake Forest, you get a win. Even though did you know, by the way, in the fallout of all this, Wake Forest was favored
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So, I mean, that's, I've always kind of felt about, storming the court that, like, it's got to make sense relative to, like, it's got to be an upset, you know what I mean? Along, whatever. But beyond all that, now we have some actual, other things to debate relative to this. But they beat number 8 seeded Duke, or number 8 ranked Duke, excuse me. And Kyle Flabowski was run into by Wake Forest fans. And this is the second situation in recent memory, with Caitlin Clark being the other, where a player was affected in a physical sense by a storming of the court by fans. Flabowski suffered a knee injury, and he said that it felt intentional. Duke head coach John Shire called for a similar sense of change. Your thoughts? Do you think we need to ban court storming in the world of college basketball and basketball at large?
How do you ban it? What do you do when you've got hundreds of people rushing the court? How do you ban it? I mean, already there are fines in place, right? And they go up progressively depending on how many times you do this. But I don't know how you stop it. Do you put an army of guards around the gym floor as the time expires? I don't know what you do with it other than make the fines or the penalties so severe that it hurts. And when you're talking about now, it seems like it would. What is $100,000 for the first time, $250,000 for the second, and then it could go up to $500,000. But I just don't know what you do. I don't know how it happened. It's the same with football when they rush out onto the field. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of people at once doing this, and I'm just not sure how you stop it other than hiring an army of security guards.
But even then, to your point, in football's a little different, what with, sudden changes and things like that. But in the world of basketball, you can go from losing to winning and the upset in a matter of seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might not have any reason to believe that your fans are about to storm the court until it's happening. You know what I'm saying? And so, because what if it's a buzzer beater? Who, you know what I mean? Who knows? And so, like, you can't, like, trot out the army or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, at any moment, and then say, like, we're going to do this for every game, whether or not we're going to win. Now, I think that we probably are headed towards a future that Frank Pateo outlined here in the Brigade Bar. Says, how about a rule announcement? Court storming is not allowed until all players and coaches have vacated. I could see maybe there's like a, in a close to the end timeout, maybe there's a in stadium announcement, something like that. Like, please be mindful at the end of the game of players and personnel on the court. You know what I mean? Like that. But you're right. Like, how do you physically stop it? You can't. I mean, it's too many people. And like, how do you determine who to fine? Like, what if the person who started running wasn't even the person whose idea it was? You know what I'm saying?
Well, look, I just want to, Frank, I love you, man. RJ, you guys need to come back from Alice in Wonderland, okay? Because it doesn't matter whether you can make all the announcements that you want.
I agree, but at least you protect at least you protect yourself legally. You know what I mean? If you're the arena, you offer the announcement, and you can say, well, my hands are clean. We made the announcement type thing.
I'm sure that they do that. I would assume that they do that. You can't storm the court. Yeah, look, I don't know how you stop it other than putting up a physical barrier to keep fans from coming across. And even then, I'm not sure you can stop it. It's unfortunate that it happened. I think in the Caitlin Clark situation, I think she was pretty much unscathed, right? Didn't really hurt her seriously. Now, this Duke player's a little bit different story. The players got to be ready for it too in some ways. And I'm not saying it's their fault. They're out on the court trying to get back to the locker room, but it's going to happen. Kids are kids, right? And Wake Forest, I don't care if they're favored or not. They beat Duke. And everybody hates Duke. They hate North Carolina. You hate Kentucky. And you end up beating those schools, and it's just a little bit more enjoyable than all the rest.
J4 says in the Brigade Bar, court storming is good for fans and television. I agree with that. It is an aesthetically pleasing thing to kind of see happen. Says, my concern with banning is what's the next thing? How many players run into cameramen or slip into fans while making hustle plays? That's a great point. And then he said, do we remove cameramen? Do we push courtside seats further from the court? I mean, so to be clear, I'm not advocating for this, but I think if you're looking for a solution that you can apply to all arenas, maybe it's like Final Four courts that are elevated. You know what I'm saying? Because at the very least, it's now a little bit more physically taxing to storm the court. You know what I mean? You can't just get a running start type thing, but that would suck. Like if every arena in the country was elevated, it would just look weird. Because even those Final Four courts look kind of weird. Like it looks like a dugout when the players are sitting there.
I love Bernard Campbell and his comments. I wish they would court storm in professional sports. Can you imagine?
I agree with you.
The crying that would come out of the NBA players if fans were allowed to do that. Russell Westbrook would lose his mind if they allowed that. It would be awful. Look, their kids are excited. It's college sports, and I think that it's going to be very difficult to stop that. And Frank Mateo, what do you call this bar thing?
The Brigade Bar. Come on.
The Brigade
Have
Bar,
some respect.
Frank Mateo in the Brigade Bar on YouTube saying call a timeout with 1 or 2 seconds left and let them leave. Do you think fans would know what's happening? If you're calling a timeout and you rush the floor, and then what are you going to do? I think it's going to be very difficult to stop this thing unless, and I don't know if schools would be willing to do this, but have an army of security guards surround the court. I don't see any other way to stop it.
Maybe not only, but one of the other ways is if the NCAA or whoever in this case determines that whoever storms the court is has to forfeit a win. Then all of a sudden people start taking it seriously. And but it's a really, really, really difficult conversation is the point.
It is.
We don't have any difficult conversations around here. We have easy ones, but we have a difficult one for a lot of you to understand. Those of you Trey Lance truthers and supporters, conspiracy theorists, this trade was a bad idea. We're going to tell you exactly why. Go get another cup. Go get another pastry. We got more here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Talk.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Stars Spring Golf Classic is set. Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas. With plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
When something happens to your car, you might say, but what you really need to say is something that can actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And just like that, State Farm is there to help you file your claim right on the State Farm mobile app. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
People who come to cricket stay with cricket, just like our customer Jared.
I'm the singer and guitarist in a band, and I use my cricket phone for everything. It's basically like another band member.
Don't miss a single beat. Switch today and get a free Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. Smile, you're on cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial. Must bring your number to Cricket on up to a $60 a month voice plan depending on device. Select models only while supplies last. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See store for details.
When was the last time you went to the dentist? Need a new dentist? Hi, Jason Minix here. Go see my dentist at Smile Structure Dentistry and Braces. Smile Structure can handle all your dentistry needs, from general dentistry to oral surgery, orthodontics for the kids, or Invisalign for adults. Mention this ad, get a free exam and x-rays. Veteran owned with 5 San Antonio area locations. Learn more and book an appointment online at smilestructure.com. That's smilestructure.com.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-785-9545. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-785-9545 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-785-9545 to see if you qualify. That's 800-785-9545.
Hey, honey, I'm home.
Bob, I just hung up with Joe. It's the 4th time he's called this week. He says he's worried because for the first time in 12 years, you didn't buy my anniversary jewelry from him.
You didn't tell him, did you?
No, I didn't tell him how we made the switch to Diamonds Direct and how much I love my new diamond ring or these incredible diamond stud earrings you got me either.
Bob's gonna go nuts when he finds out. But I can't believe how all these things he used to say about Diamonds Direct just aren't true. And the prices are a lot better than his.
Yeah, and what I love is the free service at Diamonds Direct. I can get my jewelry cleaned anytime. And everyone there is like family.
Are you getting all you deserve from your jeweler? You might be surprised. Maybe it's time to make the switch to Diamonds Direct for guaranteed better value, selection, service, and quality.
If he comes up on the caller ID, just don't answer it.
All right, but we can't keep dodging him. You know we're going to see him at the family reunion.
Yeah, I know.
Diamonds Direct. No middleman, no pricing games, no compromises. Get details and showroom directions at diamondsdirect.com.
Joel, it's fantastic to be a local business here in San Antonio.
Sure is, Nigel.
We always say, from the outhouse to the penthouse, we can plumb it and we can cool it.
And all that at a fair price with one easy phone call to 210-651-5899.
See, Joel, I told you I could do it without clowning around.
So what's with the red nose?
You can let go now. That's not funny.
Quarter Moon Plumbing and AC, 210-651-5899.
License number M16004, DACLA 000743445E.
Dave Ramsey here from my friends over at Connecticut in San Antonio. Trust me, Connecticut water systems are the best of the best. I personally have one in my home. All those other water softener systems out there are junk in comparison. Connecticut uses less water and runs on kinetic energy. So there's no computer to break, fewer moving parts, and it works only when you need it. It was even voted most efficient water softener in the world by the Water Quality Association. The team at Connecticut San Antonio can test your water, install a system, and provide treatment all without stepping a foot inside your home.
I'm Chris Canepa of Connecticut and San Antonio in the Hill Country. I'll let you try a Connecticut quality water softener for 90 days absolutely free. Call us at 656-PURE, that's 656-7873, or visit us on ConnecticutSA.com.
And tell them Dave Ramsey sent you.
Call 656-PURE, Connecticut.
The Texas Rangers play here.
Hit high and deep to left field. This is carrying well. An opposite field blast for Corey.
KTFM Floresville, and always at ESPNSA.com. San Antonio's Sports Center.
The NFL Combine begins today, but Dallas Cowboys coaches Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer will not be there. By the way, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported over the weekend that the team and representatives for Dak Prescott haven't had any substantial talks about a long-term contract. The Spurs lost to the Jazz on Sunday night. Devin Vassell led the way with 27 points. The UTSA got the win, though. We're on 94.1, San Antonio Sports Star.
How good you want to be? From play one to the last play, we fighting. Today's about opportunity and character. We got a chance to come out here and play football. It's a blessing. Hey, every season is full of defining moments. Let's make this day a defining moment for us in our quest. Let's go, baby.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here are the guys.
Huddle up! It is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Robbie T out today. My name RJ Ochoa, and with me for some high quality, more specifically restaurant quality radio, is Big Fudge from the Blitz, Joe Reinagel himself. Joe, happy Big Fudging.
Well, thank you. It's a happy Monday to you. Is it when we're talking restaurant quality? Are we talking high dollar restaurant? Are we talking gyms or I don't know, Saltgrass?
This is always my question. The restaurant that always comes to mind, this is a bit of a throwback for me, is Furs. That's what I always think of when I think of
Furs Cafeteria.
Yeah,
I remember Furs.
Jim's Works. I could totally see somebody, cutting up some eggs, listening to RJ and Joe ping and pong the old, ping pong balls around.
That sounds delicious right now, as a matter of fact.
Over Easy Guy? Scramble?
Over Easy Guy. I like it over Easy. It's, Scrambled's okay. But if I had my druthers, a little over easy with some toast where you can, dip that toast in the egg stuff and
Egg
eat it
stuff.
up. Egg stuff.
It's called yolk.
I prefer egg stuff. It's the juice, the egg juice.
Yeah, that's pretty gross. I'm an over medium guy. I want some egg stuff, but I don't want it to be overwhelming. By the way, congratulations to your Blitz partner. Well, not to him, but to Joanna Minix on the half marathon she ran last night in Vegas. We saw a video of her crossing the finish line. Very cool. So it was inspiring. I might run a couple miles someday this week. You know what I mean? Well, maybe across the week.
I'm happy for her, but I won't be running a couple of miles this week or next week or the week after that. So, but good for Joanna.
You will hit the gym, though, before the Blitz. Everybody hang out with Joe later on this afternoon, where he is likely to talk really all things sports, but I'm certain at some point Dallas Cowboys. And, Joe, I think there was an underlying overlooked Dallas Cowboys storyline from this past weekend. We found out that the NFL salary cap is set at just a hair north of $255 million. We also found out the fifth-year option values for the class of 2021. For Micah Parsons, it's a little bit north of $24 million. But that also includes Trey Lance because he is a Dallas Cowboy. He is a 2021 draft pick. In fact, he was the third overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft. And his fifth-year option, which the Cowboys have to decide this offseason whether or not they want to exercise, is $22.4 million. That's a lot of money for a back.
Well, yeah, it is. So what's what is the Cowboys' plan here? And that's going to be interesting to see. Now, Cooper Rush has a year left, but if it's my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, RJ, that's a team option. I don't think it's not a guaranteed year. So if they wanted to get rid of Cooper Rush, they could do it and it wouldn't cost them anything. Make Trey Lance the backup and see what he can do. But then you're taking a hell of a chance there if something happens to Dak Prescott. So, look, when this whole trade happened, I didn't understand it. I mean, I really didn't. You give up a fourth-round draft pick for this guy who did absolutely nothing in San Francisco. But it's Jerry. I think just he's more interested sometimes in just making a splash than actually helping his ball club. I just don't think Trey Lance is the answer. I don't think you're going to get anything if you try to trade him. But you got to give him a shot this year, don't you, to see if he's even worth taking a look at.
So this trade was annoying at the time to me because of what it was going to bring up with Dak. I was just pretty annoyed at all the people who were going to say, like, oh, play Trey Lance. And thankfully, Dak put forth an MVP caliber season. But it also didn't make sense as far as the timeline of everything lining up. Even if you're somebody who did not believe or does not believe in Dak Prescott, this was illogical. Now, you're right, by the way, on Cooper Rush. They'll probably actually cut him and save just, find a couple quarters in the couch cushions type thing relative to this year's salary cap space. But the fifth-year option is for next season, for 2025. He's on the books this year for cheap because it's a rookie contract. But they're going to decline it because there's no way they can commit to $22 million in a fully guaranteed sense for next year for a backup quarterback. And even then, even if you thought he could be your starter, the dude hasn't played in 3 years. You know what I mean? How could you possibly trust him? And he's had a big injury. So his timeline doesn't line up with this Dak deal. Like, even if you thought, let's just ride this Dak thing out and we'll try to pivot to Trey in the future, it was dumb in that sense. And it costed them a fourth-round draft pick. To your point, that is going to be a long wait that the Cowboys go from the third round all the way to the fifth before they pick again. And even then, they gave up a fifth-round pick and trading up for Eric Scott Jr. last year. They should get a compensatory pick, but it was an in-the-moment kind of thing. And you're right, we'll probably see a lot of Trey Lance when we're out in Oxnard, and that'll be cool, and he'll look good against air, and he'll have one throw, and my buddy Joe Reinagel will tweet like, this Trey Lance guy looks pretty good. Dak better watch out, several months after Dak signs for $60 million a year. And he'll play in the preseason, but it's a weird lack of foresight and lining up. You want to always have players able to replace your current contracts, and Trey is not that for the Cowboys or for Dak Prescott in this situation.
Well, that's another place that the Cowboys have failed miserably. There's nobody. Cooper Rush never was going to push Dak Prescott. Trey Lance coming in. I'm sure Dak said, "Oh, I'm scared now." Never did he say that. And so there was never anything to give Dak any reason to look over his shoulder. None whatsoever. There still isn't. Trey Lance isn't the guy. But I think you have to. For a couple of reasons. And obviously with that kind of a number, it's going to be difficult to get rid of. He as far as a trade goes, right? So, but you got to see what he can do. Make him the backup quarterback, see what happens. If you don't like him through training camp, then you make some difficult decisions. But you got to at least look. You brought him on this team. You gave up a 4th-round draft pick. I think the guy at least deserves a look. And by the way, RJ, did I mention I'm a truth teller? You will not see one tweet from me, no matter how good Trey Lance looks, that he's a threat to Dak Prescott.
We'll see. The Oxnard son can make a man tweet some weird things. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to know until you're out there. It's really my point.
I love you, Dak.
That's you.
Yes.
It was never a trade that made sense, and that's a tough situation. But bygones are bygones, I guess. Quickly, a little bit before we go to break, I know this is a little off topic, but I do want to get your thoughts on this. And shout out to Jesus in the Brigade Bar for bringing it up. Have you seen about this No Bull tour that's going to be going on?
Just a little bit of it, yeah. I don't know a whole heck of a lot about it, but yeah, I've seen it. Seems interesting.
So Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, and Luke Longley participated with Australia's National Basketball League. And they're going on a tour to address their discrepancies or disagreements with the Last Dance documentary. And they're calling it the No Bull Tour, so to speak, because, they find it to be a lot of bull. And obviously they were the Bulls. So, I mean, the alliteration is all over the place. But is this cool? Is this lame? Because I kind of think it's a little lame.
Well, I think it's lame. They see an opportunity to, get back in the spotlight a little bit. Scottie Pippen should just be happy, I think, because including me, and I know a lot of people that watch Michael Jordan play ball, Scottie Pippen was a big part of that. He was a big part of the reason that Jordan had the success that he did. And I don't know why Scottie's not happy with that. But I think Scottie's one of those guys that thinks, he should have been the limelight. He should have been the guy. And I just wish Scottie would go on, be happy. You were part of some magical teams and just, ride off into the sunset and enjoy life. But I think this is all just, they want to get 15 more minutes in the spotlight.
I hate to say that I agree with you because I don't want to feel that way about this, but
I'm a truth teller, RJ.
Well, I know,
told you that.
I just feel like so what's gonna do you really think that anyone is gonna look at y'all, and no disrespect to you, Scotty, you or Luke, but we're gonna say, oh, we totally believe you over Michael. No one is gonna say that. No, literally no one is gonna feel that way. And so it just feels awkward. The Bulls might be the most toxic dynasty of all time. Like you mentioned, just be happy. It would be such a bummer if in 10 years the Spurs were doing this. You know what I mean? And just bickering with one another and fighting. It's just everyone can have a piece and tell all the same story. People will pay to hear the same good stories over and over and over again, and you don't have to do anything like this.
Yeah, can you imagine Boris Diaw coming out with the tour and Mario Ellie and some of those guys? Yeah, and Pop, he's a tyrant, and David Robinson really wasn't as good, and it was all me. It's ridiculous, and I have a feeling this will last. If it lasts 15 minutes, I'll be surprised. I don't even think it lasts that long. It'll get old to everybody really quick.
Even the 90s Cowboys dynasty isn't this toxic. In you know what I mean? Even they have all said, let's just tell the good stories, sign the autographs, take the pictures, and let's just take our royalties that way. We don't have to go about it this way. Also, dude, respect on your tour, but it's in no way going to be seen or viewed or heard by as many people as the Last Dance. That's just kind of
this will probably be the last time we talk about it. I would imagine, whether it's the Morning Cuddle or the Blitz, either one. So.
Well, Time will tell.
I'm sorry.
Next up, though, on the aforementioned huddle, the Spurs, not the Bulls, have their own toxic problems. And they keep turning into loss after loss after loss after loss. But Wemby, he's amazing. We'll get into it here next on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set. Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas. With plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join. Or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th. Presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Get ready. This week, Staples has deals so good, you're going to want to sit down. Are you sitting? I'll wait. Great. Right now, during Staples Sit-a-thon, you can save up to $180 on select chairs. That's up to $180 off desk chairs, up to $180 off computer chairs, and up to $180 off gaming chairs. So hurry into Staples now for the Staples Sit-a-thon and grab a seat or 2. Ends 3/2. In-store only. See associate for details.
Hey, this is Rob Thompson here for Prize Picks. If you have downloaded the Prize Picks app and you're playing, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to those that think that there's something out of reach. If you want to play a game that your skill plays a role in, I want you to download Prize Picks because it's about more or less. It's not about winning and losing. Use your knowledge to pick out who is going to do the best and decide whether it's going to be more or less. A couple of clicks before you know it, you're playing the game. And it's all about the knowledge. Download Prize Picks. You'll see what I'm talking about. Basketball is in full swing. The tournament's just around the corner. There is no better way to apply your knowledge than Prize Picks. You know your guys. You know what they're capable of. Is it higher or lower? 2 or 3 clicks, more and more X's, more and more money. And if you download Prize Picks now and use the word Alamo in your promo code, there's $100 to play with. More or less, a couple of clicks, go do it. It's Prize Picks. Start playing today. Thank me later.
Do you have failing or missing teeth? Hi, I'm Dr. Andrew Mueller, Chief Oral Surgeon at Doctors Implants.
I had missing teeth. I had crowns. I had partials.
There was no way I was going to walk into my bathroom every morning to see my teeth in a container.
At Doctor's Implants, replacing your teeth with full mouth dental implants might be the long-term solution you're looking for.
The 6-Hour Smile is a permanent full mouth teeth replacement. Your new smile will be custom designed to fit your face and lifestyle and will look and function just like regular teeth. You won't need to remove them from your mouth overnight, and you won't need adhesive to keep them in place. Eat freely and smile confidently again. Research them at doctorsimplants.com. Receive a complimentary doctor's consultation and CT scan when you call 210-640-0000. Again, that's 210-640-0000.
Home of the 6-Hour Smile.
Let our team keep your home running comfortable and worry-free. Call on Mr. Electric for all your electrical needs. 210-248-2026. Or get a hold of us online at mrelectric.com and enter your zip code.
License number TECL 34221.
Buyers Barricades is proud to provide traffic control, rental, and sales for work zones and events in the San Antonio area and beyond. Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. Learn more online at buyersbarricades.com. That's buyersbarricades.com.
Hello, this is Chip with Diamond J Properties. You're invited to our coastal waterfront grand opening this Saturday, where you can get 2 acres with bay access for only $49.9. That's right, 2 acres bay access for only $49.9. This coastal waterfront community has over 4 miles of water frontage with access to the ICW, Gulf, Matagorda Bay, and much more. Property features paved roads, underground utilities, boat launch, pier, pool, cabana, and more. This property is shown by appointment only. Call now, 210-853-0389. 210-853-0389. 210-853-0389. 210-853-9.
Howdy, San Antonio. This is Andrew Monaco, and you're locked on the home of the Aggies, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hello, everyone. Yes, even you. It's the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Robbie T out today. RJ Ochoa right here alongside the dashing and debonair Joe Ryan-Engel.
Absolutely well put and perfectly described. Thank you, RJ. That's outstanding. You and I are holding up the station today, along with Edwin Hafner and James Pledger, who will be producing the Blitz this afternoon. So, Minix is slacking off in Vegas. And so, you and I have to hold up this whole entire machine.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing a hell of a job.
Well, that's why I asked you what you had for dinner last night a little while ago. You said you had a Whataburger. Because I want to make sure you have enough protein in your body. Do you know your lunch plans yet? Because that'll be your pre-Blitz meal.
I don't know my lunch plans yet. This was it was an early morning wake up call this morning. Which is fine. I mean, and after several cups of coffee, I feel pretty wired up. But no, I don't know yet what those lunch plans are going to be. I have a feeling though it's going to happen a little earlier than normal because already the stomach's beginning to growl a little bit.
Well, you've been up longer than usual at this point in time.
Oh,
and we
sure, exactly.
Yeah, we appreciate your presence here on the Morning Huddle. Maybe somebody was up late watching the Spurs lose again on Sunday night to the Utah Jazz. Are you aware, though, Joe, that they kept their all-important streak alive? Are you aware of what the streak is and that it is active and how close they are to NBA history?
Really? Enlighten me, please. Yes. Yes. No. What is this you speak of?
Rob and I started tracking this about, 6 weeks ago when it first popped up. The Spurs have the longest active streak in the NBA of games with 20 or more assists. Now, that's pretty common, right? Not hard to get to 20 assists in an NBA game. And really just kind of speaks to how there's not real one baller. There is now, but you know what I mean?
Sure.
This streak is 116 games long at this point in time.
Wow. All right.
I know.
All right.
Now the pathetic part about that is they've only won 27 of those games, but that's neither here nor there. But they're at 116. The Pacers are at 112 actively. They're right on our heels. All right. So, shoo, Indiana. But the all-time record for most consecutive games with 20 or more assists is 120, set by the Los Angeles Lakers in the mid-'80s. We're right there. We're on the cusp.
Wow. Well, 20 must be pretty impressive then if there's, nobody's
it's really not
done this in a long time. Especially you got a guy like Wemby who you can just kind of throw it inside and he usually scores.
In case you're curious, they could tie the record next Tuesday in Houston and break it next Thursday in Sacramento. Just if you're curious.
Wow. All right. Well, yeah, I am curious because we got to have something to watch and hold on to. So it might as well be that. I mean, what else are we going to hold on to?
I feel like most people feel the same here. I didn't feel anything with the losses at Sacramento. I know that was Thursday night, but I didn't feel anything with that, with the loss at LA. I know that they made it kind of close and had a fun, final few minutes against LA, but it wasn't like, oh man, we dropped this. Like it was just kind of like, okay, another. And I didn't feel anything at all against Utah. I know that, again, they've got it down to whatever it was, 9 points. Like they've beaten us down so bad that it's like, you lost again, man. So what? You know what I mean? Like, cool. Hopefully we break the assist record at this point in time. Hopefully Wemby does something cool. That's really all they are, dude. I mean, that bums me out, but they have done this. It did not have to be this way.
No, it didn't have to be this way. And the Spurs pop Brian Wright all made the decision that they were going to go into the season, give Wemby the feel for the NBA with a bunch of young kids around him, youngest team in the NBA, and see where they would go. And we're seeing where they're going. It's nowhere. 11 wins on the season. I don't see any prospects for this team to get many more than that, to be totally honest with you. I don't think they come anywhere close to what they won last year, which was 22. But I'm resigned to the fact that this team is just going to continue to suck. So the thing that I've got to get motivated by, RJ, is what am I going to do for the remainder of the season? What am I going to watch? And Wemby's
the NCAA
easy
tournament.
Well, that too, but I mean, Wemby's the easy answer on this team. But what else? Do you start looking at guys, and do you see any kind of message in a Keldon Johnson benching last night after 4 minutes? I do. I see a little bit of a message there. Finally, I think it's taken too long, but this team has got to look different, and I'm looking forward to the offseason already to see just what maneuvers and what things the Spurs are going to do to make this team better.
I like Jesus's comment in the Brigade Bar. It says we are comfortably numb, so to speak. That's exactly where we are with the Spurs. Now, the Keldon thing, I'm kind of past the point of Keldon. You know what I mean? And that's not a Keldon thing. You know, free Keldon as far as I'm concerned. Let Keldon go somewhere else. Maybe somebody else can develop him. It's not going to happen here. I will give them just the teeniest, tiniest bit of credit because Devin Vassell has been awesome. Like, relatively speaking, contextually speaking, ever since the New Orleans fiasco, where we all were pissed off saying, Devin, what the hell are you doing, dude? The ball belongs in Victor's hands in these moments. He has emerged as Robin. So, I mean, I feel like we have Batman and Robin. Now we just need the rest of the Justice League. I know you're a big Justice League fan. And so,
sure. Yeah.
But so that he's kind of the answer, but even that is kind of a tired thing at this point. Like, he's continued to be awesome for a few weeks now. I mean, outside of him, I guess Blake is kind of fun, you know, every night, every now and then, but that's it. I mean, I guess maybe Jeremy, has a few moments, but we're not attached to them. You know what I mean? We were halfway out. We're hokey poking this whole thing with everybody except Wemby and Devin.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that Devin Vassell is the Robin to Wemby's Batman at this point in time. I think maybe
he definitely
Vassell
is right now. Maybe not long term, but he is right now.
Sure, right now. Okay, I'll give you that. I'm not sure long term that he is. I think there needs to be another Robin or two brought into this thing, and I think there will be. And again, that's what I'm looking forward to. I really just wish we could fast forward through the remainder of the season and get to the offseason, get to the lottery, get to the draft, and then see what the Spurs do in free agency, because I have to believe that they're going to make some moves and get some people around this phenomenon that is Victor Wembanyama. And if they don't, shame on them, because in my mind, and I try to justify it in my mind by the fact that they're letting him get used to the NBA, but in my mind, they've wasted his rookie year. And it's just got to be frustrating as hell for that young man, where it just doesn't seem frustrating to anybody else. And I think that's the problem. And I think it's a big problem with Keldon Johnson. And I think the laziness, the way the Spurs started that game last night, is just a reflection on the season and what it has been. And I'm happy to see the fact that they benched that guy. And I hope that discipline like that, or accountability like that, continues for the remainder of the season.
I can appreciate discipline and accountability, but miss me with this. It's too late. You know what I mean? You've started studying for exams with 2 weeks left to go in the semester. You know what I mean? Like, you've already failed enough. You know, like, you can't recover at this point. Like, at the you might as well just enjoy it. Like, why even show up to class? You know what I mean? And so
enjoy it.
I mean, it's actually kind of rude to Keldon to make him look silly like this at this, because you know what I mean? Like, who the hell are you to say enough, Keldon? And I recognize that you want to, offer discipline and authority and things like that, but like, you're the joke at this point. Like, Keldon's not making you the joke. You're the joke. Outside, like, Wemby is saving you from being a complete and total joke. Devin is helping out in certain capacities, but the idea that, the Spurs are high and mighty and too good for Keldon's antics on Sunday night is a little bit, over the top in my mind. But
Well, Keldon was a clown show yesterday, and he deserved to be benched. I think
he did,
Devin
but they're a clown show. I mean,
I get that, but I mean,
he's one in the car. It's like all the clowns in the car. I mean,
well, Keldon was like the last guy out of the car. I mean, you just don't care. But he's kind of like, he just was. He was bad, and I'm glad that he got benched. At least I see something. And maybe it is too late, but at least I see something. Hold these guys accountable. I mean, everybody's sick of losing. Nobody thought this would be a championship team this year, but nobody thought that we'd be at this point in the season with 11 wins.
It is the worst way possible to have a generational player on your team. AJ says in the Brigade Bar, I am baffled, upset, and at the same time, I am not surprised. It's the Spurs way. Piss on what the fans want. We know better behavior. That's exactly what it is. And that's what the Keldon thing is. It's like, oh, now we're going to sit up in our chair and we're going to really stick our chest out and we're going to get the, all the discipline out. It's silly. And I'm not defending Keldon. I just think it's a really hollow move at this point relative to who you are as a team and how the season has gone, the joke that it's all kind of been. But, hey, that's just kind of what it is. Joe, there are actually not even some. There are most quarterbacks not throwing at the NFL Combine this week. What would you not do at your own NFL Combine? We have some thoughts on that. We'll get into right after this. Here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1.
Here's another remarkable success story from QC Kinetics. This one from Chad, who hurt his knee at the gym one day, and it just kept on hurting for months.
From my high school football and wrestling, little bit of damage in there, but this just sent it over the edge.
Chad tried traditional treatments with no improvement when he turned to the non-surgical regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
It was really fascinating how they did their work, and the science behind it was very intriguing, and it works. Extracting the cure out of my own body blew my mind. It's like I'm brand new again. It was fantastic.
That's because the QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments use your body's own healing power to restore damaged tissue in your hips, shoulders, back, and knees, providing long-lasting relief.
Now I'm back at the gym. I'm 100% feeling great.
If you're tired of suffering with pain from arthritis or injury, call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318.
Joel, it's fantastic to be a local business here in San Antonio.
Sure is, Nigel.
We always say, from the outhouse to the penthouse, we can plumb it and we can cool it.
And all that at a fair price with one easy phone call to 210-651-5899.
See, Joel, I told you I could do it without clowning around.
So what's with the red nose?
You can let go now. That's not funny.
Quarter Moon Plumbing and AC, 210-651-5899.
License number N16004, DACLA 000743458E.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Brakes? We can save you 15% on that. We have OE quality Duralast brake pads and rotors in stock, ready for pickup or delivery. We also have calipers, brake fluid, tools, and anything else you'll need to do the job right. When you get Duralast pads and rotors together, you'll save 15%. It's just part of what makes us America's #1 brakes destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Gomez Law Firm has been taking care of the people of San Antonio for almost 50 years, the leader in personal injury law. Jose, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
We do ride-sharing cases, 18-wheeler cases. Obviously, we've done those for very many years. Work injuries. We will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then you need to visit joegomezlaw.com.
We've been around for almost 50 years, and we're not going anywhere.
Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736-4040.
Dave Ramsey here for my friends over at Connecticut in San Antonio. Trust me, Connecticut water systems are the best of the best. I personally have one in my home. All those other water softener systems out there are junk in comparison. Connecticut uses less water and runs on kinetic energy, so there's no computer to break, fewer moving parts, and it works only when you need it. It was even voted most efficient water softener in the world by the Water Quality Association. The team at Connecticut San Antonio can test your water, install a system, and provide treatment all without stepping a foot inside your home.
I'm Chris Canepa of Connecticut and San Antonio in the Hill Country. I'll let you try a Connecticut quality water softener for 90 days absolutely free. Call us at 656-PURE, that's 656-7873, or visit us on ConnecticutSA.com.
And tell them Dave Ramsey sent you.
Call 656-PURE, Connecticut.
Hey, boss. What's got you so down today?
We just lost another customer to Diamonds Direct. Guy's been with us for years. Went over there and, well, now he's in love with those people. I don't know what they do.
Want me to go secret shop Diamonds Direct again, sir?
Remind me what we learned the last time you did that.
Well, they're really good, sir. They got like 10 times the selection we have. They have those top designers that we're not allowed to carry. They're telling people the inside secrets on how to buy diamonds. They give free service on stuff like cleaning and sizing, the things you charge extra for. And they're nice people. Everybody's smiling over there.
Okay, stop. I know. It's impossible to compete with Diamonds Direct. I mean, even my accountant just upgraded his wife's engagement ring there and got her a 3-carat.
Wait a minute. I thought your brother was your accountant.
He is.
Are you getting all you deserve from your jeweler? You might be surprised. Maybe it's time to get the value, the selection, the quality, the education, and the service you deserve at Diamonds Direct. Get details, showroom hours, directions, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Tonight at 5:45, it's college basketball. Miami and North Carolina on your home for March Madness. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Well, I didn't know that. Joe, you got an easy night tonight over here bragging about, your back hurting from carrying the station.
Man,
Joe
no
Reinigo with
kidding.
us on the Morning Huddle. The fraud. Goodness gracious.
I didn't know it was an early exit tonight, but I was happy to hear that promo. So I'm out of there at 5:45 versus 6 o'clock. Thank you.
Hey, time is time, dude.
Time is time. I'm telling you. It's fantastic. It gives me something to look forward to. I'm looking forward to this afternoon. And, it's funny when you do a show solo, RJ, as you know, there would be a lot of fans saying that you're lecturing them. And the way I look at that, maybe some of these fans need to be lectured too, because some of them, their opinions are just a little off and need to be corrected just a little bit. Yes.
Yeah. Professor Joe will be here at 2 later on today is when class starts.
Yes,
are you more of a chalkboard guy or dry erase marker?
Chalkboards, they're not a thing anymore, are they?
They definitely exist.
Chalkboards are still a thing?
I mean, they're not. They used to call them blackboards when they were black,
right?
But now they're green. Sure, you know what I mean. So they never called them green boards, interestingly enough. But
never did.
They definitely exist. And did you ever have to go clap the erasers as punishment?
Yes, I sure did. Yeah,
so
I remember those days.
I mean, I think dry erase markers definitely exist, but nowadays they're probably just putting their computer screen, their PowerPoints, and everything up on. What happened? What happened to time? You know what I mean?
I know. Some things should just stand the test of time and stick around. Now, the chalkboard is not one of those things because that is out of the dust. But I do like the erase board where you got the different color markers and all that stuff. That should never go away.
Yeah, or you put the markers on top of one another and you make a sword. That's the real fun involved.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Well, but change happens, and society changes, people change. I think that's evidenced by the NFL Combine this week. Obviously, the underwear Olympics is a lot of people. I really hate how everyone who says that this week will act like they're the first person to ever come up with that term. That really sticks in my craw. But but these days, it's kind of a pointless physical activity because all of the top prospects don't throw or don't participate. In fact, while we've been on this morning, Marvin Harrison Jr., the top wide receiver expected to be in the draft class, isn't even going to do medical testing at the Combine. So how do you feel? I mean, do you hearken for the days of the chalkboard where everybody would show up and get poked and prodded, or are you fine with this? You fine with players taking control into their own hands?
Well, I know I'm kind of an old school guy, so I'd like to see them show up and do what they're supposed to do. But I mean, we've seen some things go away. That Wonderlic test, which was pretty ridiculous in my mind, and
Well,
didn't
now the
mean a whole heck
S2
of a lot.
test is in
The
trouble
S2
too.
test, yes. I mean, I'm you either know football or you don't, right? So I really don't get upset by that at all. I think the combine has really turned into an exhibition of guys that are on a bubble or maybe want to improve their draft status a little bit, third, fourth, fifth, maybe sixth round guys that want to improve their draft status a little bit. A guy like Marvin Harrison Jr., he's going to get drafted, and he's going to get drafted high. So it's really not a lot for him to do.
It's strange how for so many people, Marvin Harrison Jr. included, all you can do is lower your stock. It's really amazing that's just kind of where we're at with all this, that the body of work kind of speaks for itself. It's really, really, really hard. I mean, people have been talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. this way since the 2023 season. So that he withstood that entire test of time all throughout the 2022 season, all throughout the 23 season, really is a testament to who he is as a prospect. And I agree with you. This is either there are two main things that can come out of the NFL Combine. One is what you said, the bubble guy, mid-round guy. Maybe you go and you bump your stock up, instead of being a fourth-round pick, you're a third-round pick, et cetera, et cetera. And the networking involved between people associated with building these rosters, whether it's GMs, assistant GMs, position coaches, outright coaches, owners, agents, media members. It's all about these conversations. The Matthew Stafford trade between the Rams and the Lions was famously brokered at the NFL Combine. The groundwork, all the birds are whispering right now, Joe. It's exciting to know that all those ping pong balls are up in the air.
Well, and Dak Prescott's agent will most likely be at the Combine as well. And I'm sure there'll be some meaningful talks happening there between Jerry and Steven and Dak's representation. And you're right, that's where some of those things get done. So that's going to be interesting to see. And I can't wait for Jerry's answer, because he's going to be asked about Dak and his contract and what he's going to do. And he always finds a different way to kind of sidestep the issue, but it's always entertaining. So I'm looking forward to hearing from Jerry Jones at the Combine this week.
There was an article that came out last Thursday in the Dallas Morning News by David Moore. And whenever David Moore writes something like this, it's always worth paying attention to. And it was from, as far as serious outlets are concerned, it was the first whoa, maybe we don't pay Dak Prescott argument to kind of emerge. And that does feel like a little bit of posturing, a little bit of public negotiating from the Cowboys, from the Joneses. And you're right. We will get a comment like that. We will get a comment along the lines of, well, Dak's got to be considerate of the fact that CD is up for a deal as well, that Micah's up. It would be beneficial if all these guys would help the overall goal. That to me is ridiculous. That's the worst thing that an NFL owner or GM can say. It's not Dak's fault or CD's fault or Micah's fault that you planned poorly for this. It's not their fault that you have to work harder to figure out how to make this all work. In fact, the salary cap is larger than anybody thought it was going to be. Your job just got easier, Jerry, Steven, and Will McClay. What are you doing trying to garner sympathy from us for?
Oh, and the players, man, they're watering, right? I mean, they're drooling at the aspect. When they saw that, all of them celebrated a little bit, especially the guys that are up right now. It's incredible. But I mean, let's get used to it, right? March 13th is the deadline for Prescott's deal. I think it's going to happen. I'm totally against it. I don't think Dak is the guy. I haven't thought that for some time, but the Cowboys have no choice. And at this point in time, if they're going to have any sort of relevance.
Your stance is you're against it, but you think it will happen, just to be clear on your stance.
Absolutely. I think it has to happen. I don't think the Cowboys have a choice. And that's what's so sad about it, is the contract is all in Dak's favor. He's got all the leverage, and Jerry Jones made it that way. And so, yeah, I think the Cowboys are going to have no choice but to sign this guy. And Dak's not going to take a team-friendly deal. He's not, nor should he. Because, again, I think this is Dak's last opportunity at a huge payday. He's going to take it and going to take as much as he can possibly get. And the Cowboys are just going to have to deal with that.
Why are you against it? I mean, because you don't think he's the guy? I mean, is that that the simplified answer here?
That is the simplified answer, RJ. And I think what's Dak going into his 9th year. And I know
Correct.
that everybody's going to cite now that, Peyton Manning this and guys, some of them
Matt
were
Ryan
over 30
is the other.
before they did it. Sure. Okay.
They're the only two. Yeah. But they're the only two that have done this late in their career for the first time.
I just don't think for whatever reason, when the bright lights come up, Dak just folds. Great regular season quarterback, and he always has been. But when it's playoff time against good teams, he just does not seem to be able to have that, whatever that is, that guys like Patrick Mahomes have and Tom Brady has, and even a Matthew Stafford for that matter. Jared Goff is another guy that got to the Super Bowl and they could get it done. I'll even mention a Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's a different guy because he's a lot like Dak in that respect. But whatever it is, when the bright lights come on, Dak just does not seem to be able to get it done. And nothing leads me to believe that that's going to change.
I think that the evaluation that people have of this process is really broken. And they look at the number. They say, I'm not going to pay $60 million per year. This is a yes or no thing. This is one line that you're on one side of. It's not, well, I think he's worth this, but not that. So, I mean, you look at the quarterbacks who got paid a year ago. Justin Herbert, Dak's got a much more proven resume than. I know you're a Herbert guy, but I don't think you could dispute that. Lamar Jackson, who's got a much more impressive individual resume, but to your point, some people would kind of put in the same box as Dak as far as playoff success or lack thereof. Jalen Hurts, I don't think it's ridiculous at all to claim that Dak is better than him, although he obviously had an incredible season 2 years ago now. So, I mean, and then Joe Burrow. And I think everybody would take Joe Burrow over Dak. I don't think that that's a controversy in any way, stretch or form. This, to me, I've never been in this spot, but I think the best way, I've thought about this a lot because I've tried to explain it so many times. I think about parents who have helped their children in college, help pay for their tuition. You're paying for the diploma. That's you have to do it. You have to go through that process. That's it's not a debatable thing. It's not a negotiable thing. You can't say, well, school X, I don't think that tuition is worth this. I'm willing to pay a little bit less than this. If your kid wants to go to that school or is going to go to that school or whatever the case may be, and they want the degree or they want to earn the degree from that particular institution, that's the price. And then guess what? I mean, the next year they might say, well, tuition went up 5%. We have more students now. We have to build this building. We have to do this. And you're thinking, why? Why did tuition go up? Books are more expensive now. That's the price of doing business. This is simply what it is. And I don't mean to act in a surrender sort of way, like, oh, what a common way that people defend Dak is, well, what's the better option? I don't think that's a fair point at all. I think Dak is a top 7 quarterback, and he kind of hovers around 3 to 4 at his absolute ceiling. That is well worth paying the price to get the degree from, in my mind. You compared him, or you said, oh, well, he doesn't have what Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes had. If that's what we're chasing, we're going to go crazy because there's just no way that any mortal is going to catch that. And I think that that's pretty justified over the course of the last quarter century. So he's a well worth paying quarterback. It's just right now the number happens to be $60 million. The way it was 52 for Jalen, or for 51 for Jalen Hurts last year. A year ago, Jalen Hurts got 51. We had all the conversations about how he's the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. A day later, Lamar Jackson got more money. That's the way that this game works.
Yeah, Dak is next, and he's going to get paid. And there's nothing that anybody can do about it. It's going to happen, like it or not. My point is, though, even a Jalen Hurts, I think Dak Prescott's a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. But guess what? Jalen Hurts got to the Super Bowl. To me, that
he
is
had one of the best teams ever. He had all pros and Pro Bowlers everywhere around it. And
what did the Cowboys have last year, RJ? What did they have?
Let's hold
Was
up.
That not
the context is necessary.
Talented team.
The Eagles won 2 playoff. And look, I'm not at all excusing the Cowboys losing to the Packers in the playoffs because they didn't lose. They were lambasted, right? So no defense there for me. But the Eagles, everybody acts like the Eagles got to the Super Bowl. That did happen in a literal sense. They were in the Super Bowl. The 2 playoff games they won before that, they earned a first-round bye. I don't think we ever give teams like that. That's a playoff win. You earn a bye.
Sure.
That should be counted as a playoff win. So they earned that. They beat the Giants with the really crummy Daniel Jones-led Giants. The same Daniel Jones who was even worse this past season. So we're really going to like pound our chest over, say that they should pound their chest. And then in the NFC Championship game, they beat the literal quarterbackless San Francisco 49ers. They beat a team with no passing option in the game before the Super Bowl. That's not their fault, right? That those circumstances unfolded. But my point is, it's not like they were this indestructible force that Jalen Hurts threw for 500 yards in every playoff game or anything like that. They had a ho-hum way to the Super Bowl, and then he was remarkable in the game, but they lost. So, like, that's why context is necessary. We can't just say, well, he got to a Super Bowl. That's my point.
Okay, well, using that terminology, you go back to one of Dak's wins in the playoffs against a horrible Tampa Bay team. Granted,
That's
Tom
fair.
Brady was that quarterback, but so are we going to count that? Yeah, everybody's going to count that win, right? They're going to count it. So Dallas should have beaten Green Bay. Clearly a subpar team to the Dallas Cowboys, and they got their butts kicked. They didn't just lose that game. They got humiliated in that game. And Dak Prescott was a reason they did that, because he had a terrible first half. It was awful. All I'm saying is it doesn't matter who's in front of you. Cowboys should have won that game. They should have gone on to play Detroit. Now, would they have beaten Detroit? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. We'll never know. But they should have had that opportunity. And the fact that the Cowboys went into that game in Green Bay and against Green Bay and just thought that they could show up and win. And they didn't do it. And that's all I'm saying. When the bright lights are shining, Dak doesn't get it done. I don't care who Jalen Hurts played. They got there. They were fortunate enough to get there. Unless, I think you will agree with this, RJ. Most teams that get to the Super Bowl have some fortune at some point in time.
Totally.
And I'm not expecting Dak Prescott to be Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, but can he not be Matthew Stafford? Can he not be Matty Ice? I mean, can he not be one of those guys? He's not even one of those guys in my mind.
Matthew Stafford threw an interception in the NFC Championship game against the Niners that would have lost the game. It just so happened that Jaquiski Tart, the Niner in question, dropped it. And you're right, like, that's luck. I mean, it's a game played with an oblong-shaped ball made out of leather, right? Like, weird crap happens. But we forget that because they won the Super Bowl. And to their credit, they went on, and he played that game, and he was remarkable. And Cooper Kupp was amazing. And Cooper Kupp literally won MVP of that game. So there are moments of luck. I think you're right, and that's an uncomfortable admission that Cowboys fans have to have, is that maybe that Buccaneers win last year for the Cowboys was a little bit hollow. That was a below 500 Bucs team. It wasn't just a bad Bucs team. So they were literally beneath 500. Now, Dak was individually remarkable in that game in a way that Hurts wasn't in his 2 playoff wins. But that's not, to say he was better, whatever. I'm just saying Dak did live up to all the individual expectation. But to your point, he then lived down to it the week after against San Francisco. And so I get that at a certain point, it feels like, well, every single star can't align. What do you do now? And so maybe this is the, like, what's the best alternative option? They are stuck. And I know that you've kind of admitted that he is more than good enough to win with. I don't think there's any question about that. And I also think it's fair to expect a little bit more from him and any quarterback, because that's the nature of the game. But the failures of the team extend beyond Dak Prescott. And I think that we need to consider that before we say we have to get rid of this player, this piece of it all, because he's not good enough. It's true that he has not been good enough, but it's also true that the overall organism has not been good enough. So if there's a piece I want to move on from in the name of getting past where they are, I think that Dak is lower on my list than, say, Mike McCarthy, than, say, the general manager, although that's obviously an impossibility.
Well, I think Mike McCarthy, just because of the culture, and I think he should have been fired this year, and then the Cowboys start over. But everybody said, well, look what he did with Dak. Okay, look what he did with Dak. And they got their butts kicked against Green Bay. Let me ask you a question, RJ, because and our Dak Prescott conversation, did or did not the Cowboys have on paper this year one of the best teams that they've had, I mean, overall in several years?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could say in the drought, it was probably the second best team they've had. They didn't get it done. The first one would be 2007. This is it, number 2.
Okay, and their quarterback was miserable in the playoffs in the first half. And everybody points to, well, he was 400 yards, and that was after they were down 27.
Yeah, that was all empty calories, totally.
So, yeah, I mean, he was bad. He was bad in the first half. Everybody else was bad too, but your quarterback has got to lift you. And Dak just doesn't seem to have the ability to lift a team when they need to be lifted. He can't get it done. And that's why I just don't think he's that guy.
I think he's certainly – there's a lot of value in getting to the playoffs 3 years in a row. And that's where this conversation loses context, is people say, he sucks, he's terrible, blah, blah, blah. I mean, what they've done is objectively impressive. It's also objectively not enough. We all agree all these things can be true simultaneously. And so that is the challenge. And it's an even larger challenge now, because now they have to pay Dak Prescott more money. That's not his fault. Now they have to pay CeeDee Lamb. That's not Dak or CeeDee's fault. They're finally in a position where Micah Parsons is eligible to be paid. Again, nobody's fault. It's just the way time works. So this job got more difficult for Dak, obviously, but for the Cowboys front office. This is the most challenging offseason the Cowboys front office has had, maybe in the Dak Prescott era, because they have two of the best players in the Dak Prescott era that they have to pay that are not Dak Prescott, in CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. And do they risk not paying Micah, even though he's under contract, and him not showing up to training camp, him being upset, him this and that? I mean, I don't think it would be inconceivable for Micah to hold out at the beginning of training camp if he didn't have a deal, right? I mean, if you're Micah, I mean, it makes sense to cash out as soon as or to cash in as soon as possible. You haven't had the ability to do so before. We saw Zeke hold out and it worked out for him. Why wouldn't they blink for Micah if they blinked for Zeke? You know what I'm saying?
No, I think they would blink for him. And I think who knows what Mike is going to do. I think he's one of those guys that you just don't know. And he could very well hold out. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. I just think that there's so many other things. You know, guys we're not talking about it. Tyler Biotish. What do you do? That guy's
I bet they let him walk.
You know, what are you going to do at center then? And you're going to pay Dak $62 million, and you're going to bring in what? You're going to draft the center. You're going to have a rookie center for Prescott to go with. Tyron Smith's another guy I think that's going to be looked at by other teams in the free agent market. Do the Cowboys want to match that? So if you've got a patchwork offensive line or a very young one, and I'll give the Cowboys a lot of credit, RJ. Years past, they've done a great job of drafting offensive linemen. And so they're going to have to do that again. But there's so many holes on this team, that I just don't think they're going to be near as good next year as they were this past year, which is going to make Dak Prescott's job even that much more difficult.
Well, the Cowboys have a lot of holes. There's no question about that. But somehow the Spurs have like 5 times the We're going to get into the Spurs and where things stand with them after their latest loss in our final hour. Do not go anywhere, or else Joe will find you. We've got more restaurant quality radio after this. You're on the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set. Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas. With plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
Marcus, what happened?
I was changing my oil and I spilled some on the floor.
Oh, well, use these $50 bills to wipe it up.
Perfect.
Got any more?
Yeah, take a couple hundred.
Stop. Instead of using money, use an old rag. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over. And if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Pork rinds pack a protein punch and are the boldest low-carb snacks out there. Skip the chip and try Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds for that ultimate crunch. And with flavors that will have you craving for more, the time to stock up on Southern Recipe at H-E-B is now. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. Be big, be bold, be adventurous.
Hello, this is Chip with Diamond J Properties. You're invited to our coastal waterfront grand opening this Saturday, where you can get 2 acres with bay access for only $49.9. That's right, 2 acres bay access for only $49.9. This coastal waterfront community has over 4 miles of water frontage with access to the ICW, Gulf, Matagorda Bay, and much more. Property features paved roads, underground utilities, boat launch, pier, pool, cabana, and more. This property is shown by appointment only. Call now, 210-853-0389. 210-853-0389. 210-853-0389. 210-853-0389.
When your business needs an electrician, for over 35 years, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio. Powered by relationships with dedicated estimators who analyze the issue, research cost-effective solutions, and clearly communicate the options without charging you a dime. A proven process that allows you to continue focusing on your unique purpose. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074. Or hill-electric.com.
When you think San Antonio sports, think 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Your home for the NBA, MLB, and NFL. KTFM Floresville and SASportsStar.com. San Antonio's Sports Center.
The NFL Combine begins this week. Dallas Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy will not be there. Neither will Mike Zimmer. In other news, the San Antonio Spurs lost again on Sunday night, this time to the Utah Jazz, 128-109. Devin Vassell led the way with 27 points. They're back tomorrow against the T-Wolves of Minnesota. UTSA won. Texas Tech did not. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Wembanyama free. Goes behind the back here. Oh! Little sidestep and a jam by Wembanyama.
Oh, it's knocked away by Wembanyama.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. With Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here's Rob and RJ.
Hello. Good morning to you. It is the Morning Huddle here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Robbie T out today. My name RJ Ochoa. In with me from the Blitz. You will hear a lot of him later on this afternoon. He's got the tea, the lemon, the ginger, the honey, all ready to rock. It is the one and only Joe Reinagel. Joe, what's your favorite kind of tea to drink?
I'm not much of a tea drinker, although I'll get like a half and half. Half and half, sweet tea, unsweet tea, that kind of thing.
I'm talking hot tea.
Not a hot tea kind of guy. I'm really not.
Okay. I was looking for like a honey chamomile, maybe a peppermint kind of thing.
No, none of those things. You a tea guy, RJ?
Yeah, I drink a cup of tea every evening. Given what we do, I'm not as strong as y'all. You know what I mean? I need it, and so although instead of honey, I like to often go with agave. It's a little bit different, different hit.
Agave.
Yeah,
as in tequila.
No, I mean, well, there is agave in tequila, but you can just put the agave. It's a honey-like substance and texture and effect. It's a little bit smoother. Honey can be really thick. Right. Agave is a little thinner. So,
that
you learn something new about people every day.
By the way, yeah, that sounds very classy. Do you drink it with your pinky up?
I don't think anybody drinks anything with their pinkies up. Although that, I believe, stemmed from the English people drinking tea of all things. So. Yeah. Look at that. Look how you took us full circle. What a ride that was, Joe. Good for you.
I'm telling you, it just sounds very classy of you, my friend. I mean, I didn't know you were that kind of a classy guy.
Most blocks, Joe, in the month of February. Granted, there are a few days to go. This is a leap year. Did you know that, by the way?
I didn't until just the other day, and I'm like trying to figure out the calendar, and I'm going, well, that doesn't make any sense. And I looked at the calendar and said, oh, wow, 29 days.
Whole extra day. I hope you take advantage of it.
Yes, absolutely.
So most blocks this month to date. Shout out to Clutch Points for tracking this. The Portland Trailblazers have 30. The New York Knicks and Sacramento Kings have 35 apiece. The Chicago Bulls have 36. That's the real Bulls, not the No Bull Tour. The Los Angeles Clippers have 36. The Detroit Pistons have 37. And our leader is Victor Wembanyama with 38 all by himself.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's impressive. Yes, it is. The guy has really developed into we're seeing a budding superstar as it is. And I think it's great. And he's doing it on a team that really tried to prohibit him from doing that for a long time. They seem to be coming around, but it took a while, but I think we're finally getting there. At least Devin Vassell is getting there for sure.
Yeah, Devin Vassell has come along, the Robin to Wemby's Batman. I don't care what you say. Again, we were all really hard on him after that Pelicans loss and kind of screaming at him like, what are you doing, dude? And none of us were wrong. And it's a really hard thing for a person, let alone a professional athlete, to take words like that and to apply them. And I think he deserves credit for aptly doing so. The Spurs seem to be hopeful that a similar effect can happen to Keldon Johnson. On Sunday evening, the Spurs lost. What a shock to the Jazz. By the way, I saw Jeff McDonald tweeted this. The Wi-Fi there at the Delta Center, I think it is. Do you know what it's called?
The Wi-Fi or the Delta Center?
Yeah, well, like your Wi-Fi has a name. Like yours might be like, Big Fudge's Casa or something like that. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know what it's called in Salt Lake City.
I don't know that you would, but it was really funny. Again, I saw this from Jeff McDonald. It's called Jordan Pushed Off. So that's really funny. So
that's funny.
That's funny. Good for the Jazz. Anyway, the purple Jazz throwbacks look great, but they're the only thing that looked great on Sunday night because the Spurs lost and Keldon Johnson embarrassed them so much that they pulled him after 4 minutes. That's the other thing about this, like yanking him thing. Like 4 minutes is not enough to make a legitimate, have a legitimate opinion. This felt like an obvious thing. Like we need to have a fall guy. We're gonna make an example out of somebody. And I'm not saying Keldon didn't earn his benching, but this was really kind of embarrassing. I thought of the Spurs, given the context of how we've gotten here. Like that you've now had enough. And you need to pull Keldon Johnson after 4 minutes in a blowout loss to the Jazz. It just feels a little disconnected from reality for me.
Well, that just shows you how bad Keldon was last night. I mean, he was worse than I don't want to say usual. That's not fair to him, but he was bad. I mean, the entire team, though, was bad in that first quarter. It was awful. It's just like they didn't really care to play. And I know we're going to hear this. They were tired, 3 games and 4 nights and all of this stuff, which I don't buy. Everybody does that. But they came out with no energy, no lack, no urgency at all. And it was just one of those games that we come to expect. But I was actually impressed, if you will, after the Sacramento game and the LA game.
Okay.
And I thought, well, at least this team is playing hard, and yeah, they're losing, but they're in games. And then last night was just, another egg laying process.
I just can't get there anymore. The moral wins are so hollow. And it actually is so frustrating that it makes enjoying something like what Wemby did. So on Thursday night, he flirts with the 5x5, and we're all like, oh my gosh, if he had just had one more assist, we would be talking about something historic. And then for him to literally do it is an actually badass thing. You know what I mean? To be like, I was this close, so I'm literally going to go do it tonight. That is awesome. Respect. But it makes it so hard to enjoy when the Spurs are so bad. I mean, it's difficult, Joe, to be this bad when you're getting this. It isn't just a remarkable rookie season. This is a remarkable season in general from any NBA player ever. And they've won 11 games. It's not possible to be this bad, but they have found a way. They have found the specific way to be so bad around him that he cannot elevate them and carry them by himself.
What is the character of this team? I don't know. What is their their look? I don't know what it is. It just seems like a bunch of individuals out there playing basketball, and Wemby's just trying to do his thing, get involved in the NBA and learning the game and where he fits in and how he fits in. And I just think that's why I will continue to say that I think this has been a disservice to that young man. What the Spurs did. They went in with a plan, obviously, and the plan was to see what we could do with these young guys. Will they grow together? Wemby's got to feel his way in here, but it just hasn't worked. I mean, it's been a dismal failure. The whole Jeremy Sohan point guard thing at the beginning, dismal failure. And it just all the things that have gone into the season just make it seem like a real clown show. And it really does. And now as we go with 20 plus games to go in the season, what do you watch for? What are you looking for? You want to watch Wemby because he's doing incredible things. That's good. And if that's good enough for you, fine. It's hard for me to get invested in this team moving forward. And boy, I got to come up with something. And maybe it's the assist streak that you and Rob are talking about. Maybe that's what I'll get into. I just don't know, but I got to find something.
Well, to your point, it's so bad that we can't even just get into Wemby. Like, Wemby alone isn't enough of a lure or a draw to captivate our attention. And that's because what he's doing is, again, he's not just this amazing rookie. He's this amazing player. And you ask what their, I guess, MO or, character is. They're the Breakfast Club, man. Like, they're just here biding time. You know what I mean? They're all just waiting to be dismissed. That's all that they're doing. And it's a band of misfits. And that anyone ever thought this would kind of work is really amazing when you think back on it. Like, this was never, gonna be anything. Pete Estrada says in the Brigade Bar, I think the young guys are tired of Pop. He's lost them. Something I bring up a lot, Joe, I know you don't get up with us because you're lazy, is the young players, and even Wemby, although Wemby's this kind of student of the game, and the fact that he's, French is maybe, changes this dynamic a little bit, but they're so young that the Spurs dynasty is ancient history to them. You know what I mean? This isn't 2018 where it feels like 5 minutes ago. I mean, all these, the 2014 season was 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, these dudes were in middle school when that happened and way more into Steph and, LeBron and all these other eras that were beginning. Like, they don't know this history to be this pronounced thing in their mind. So I don't blame them for not being, it's hard to be connected to it at this point in time. And again, I think it's easier for Victor because of the, international connection and, the Spurs history in that capacity. But it does feel like they are just all going through the motions, and they're all just waiting for this to end. This Rodeo Road Trip has just felt like, oh, let's just get through it, like, and get them back home, and because this is all gonna. They have one win on the Rodeo Road Trip. What? Imagine if that and anyone had ever told you that the Spurs had one win on the Rodeo Road Trip. That felt impossible for most of the time.
Well, yeah, because back in the day, I mean, you're talking about that dynasty that I was fortunate enough to ride the coattails on. The Rodeo Road Trip was always the time of the season where this team came together and they got hardened, if you will, and came together for the playoff run, and so everybody looked forward to it. Now it's just like, well, get it over with and bring them back home, and the fact that they've got to go into Minnesota to end this thing is kind of scary, to be honest with you, because the last time the Spurs saw Minnesota, they won that game.
They pantsed them, dude, and they laughed, and now the T-Wolves want revenge for sure.
Absolutely, they want revenge, and the T-Wolves are a good team, and it could get ugly in Minnesota tomorrow night. But neither here nor there. I just want the season to be over, because what I want to see now is what Pop and Brian Wright and company are going to do in the offseason. How are they going to build this team? They've got draft picks aplenty. They've got money to spend. They're going to have another high draft pick because regardless of what happens, they're going to have probably a top 3 draft pick in the NBA draft this year. And so I want to see what they're going to do. I want to see how they're going to build this team moving forward. And to me, the only answer is to be aggressive and to get some veteran players in here to mix with Wembanyama and a Devin Vassell, and let's start moving this thing forward.
I agree with you. And in a lot of ways, I think about the not real silver and black, the fraud silver and black, the Las Vegas Raiders. Everybody said, oh, you have to hire Antonio Pierce because the players love him. And you didn't do that with Rich Bisaccia, right? Like at a certain point, you have to do like the one thing that you're opposed to doing just to try it, because everything else hasn't been working. So I agree with you beyond the fact that it makes sense to be aggressive and to, kind of take advantage of this and build around Wemby. That's the one thing you refuse to do. So go out and do it. And if it doesn't work, oh no, what's going to happen? We're going to have 11 wins on February 26th next year, even though it's not a leap year. We'll be okay. We'll survive. A lot of people, Joe, on the subject of basketball, have strong opinions on storming the court based on another incident that happened over the course of the weekend. What do you think? Let us know. We've got thoughts. 656 ESPN 656 3776. We're talking storming the court and whether or not it should be permanently banned. Right after this on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas, with plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste, so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Here's something you won't hear from any other jeweler. Right now, when you buy a diamond at Diamonds Direct, we'll give you a free gold setting for it. Yes, a 14-karat classic solitaire setting in white gold or yellow gold at no charge with any natural diamond purchase. So all your money can go toward a bigger diamond while you still get the classic look she wants in that engagement ring. Another example of Diamonds Direct's extraordinary value. Or if you want to take it up to the next level, Diamonds Direct also has a fantastic selection of halo, pave, vintage, 3-stone, and other popular mountings. Or maybe she wants a designer ring, like the one she's seen on social media. Well, Diamonds Direct has those too. In fact, we are an authorized retailer for all the top designers from New York and California. Whichever setting you choose, you'll also be able to choose your finance plan. Diamonds Direct now has a wide range of finance options with attractive rates and terms up to 60 months, so you can get the ideal setting to fit your style with the ideal payment to fit your budget. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Store hours, directions, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Do you have failing or missing teeth? Hi, I'm Dr. Andrew Mueller, Chief Oral Surgeon at Doctor's Implants.
I had missing teeth, I had crowns, I had partials.
There was no way I was going to walk into my bathroom every morning to see my teeth in a container.
At Doctor's Implants, replacing your teeth with full mouth dental implants might be the long-term solution you're looking for.
The 6-Hour Smile is a permanent full mouth teeth replacement. Your new smile will be custom designed to fit your face and lifestyle and will look and function just like regular teeth. You won't need to remove them from your mouth overnight, and you won't need adhesive to keep them in place. Eat freely and smile confidently again. Research them at doctorsimplants.com. Receive a complimentary doctor's consultation and CT scan when you call 210-640-0000. Again, that's 210-640-0000.
Home of the 6-Hour Smile.
Hey, this is Rob Thompson here for Prize Picks. If you have downloaded the Prize Picks app and you're playing, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to those that think that there's something out of reach. If you want to play a game that your skill plays a role in, I want you to download Prize Picks because it's about more or less. It's not about winning and losing. Use your knowledge to pick out who is going to do the best and decide whether it's going to be more or less. A couple of clicks before you know it, you're playing the game. And it's all about the knowledge. Download Prize Picks. You'll see what I'm talking about. Basketball is in full swing. The tournament's just around the better way to apply your knowledge than Prize Picks. You know your guys. You know what they're capable of. Is it higher or lower? 2 or 3 clicks, more and more X's, more and more money. And if you download Prize Picks now and use the word Alamo in your promo code, there's $100 to play with. More or less, a couple of clicks. Go do it. It's Prize Picks. Start playing today. Thank me later.
Dave Ramsey here from my friends over at Connecticut in San Antonio. Trust me, Connecticut water systems are the best of the best. I personally have one in my home. All those other water softener systems out there are junk in comparison. Connecticut uses less water and runs on kinetic energy. So there's no computer to break, fewer moving parts, and it works only when you need it. It was even voted most efficient water softener in the world by the Water Quality Association. The team at Connecticut San Antonio can test your water, install a system, and provide treatment all without stepping a foot inside your home.
I'm Chris Canepa of Connecticut and San Antonio in the Hill Country. I'll let you try a Connecticut quality water softener for 90 days absolutely free. Call us at 656-PURE, that's 656-7873, or visit us on ConnecticutSA.com.
And tell them Dave Ramsey sent you.
Call 656-PURE, Connecticut.
Hi, it's James Dominix. You're listening to the home of the Cowboys, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
All right. Good morning, Huddle. Yeah, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Easy, keeping us alive on the radio. My name is RJ Ochoa. His name Joe Reinagle in for Rob Thompson today. Joe, have you seen the latest tweet from the Arizona Cardinals?
I have not seen the latest tweet from the Arizona Cardinals.
So they tweeted out a kind of a mock-up, not mock-up, it's a photo compilation of Kyler Murray. And it just says Kyler Murray on the graphic, and it says, our franchise QB. That's the text. Pretty normal, right?
Uh-huh.
Do you know why that laughter is the universal reaction from people?
Yes, I do, because Kyler Murray, that may be the worst deal since the Dak Prescott deal.
So that's not why people are laughing. Maybe you forgot this. So, and people might have. It was now 6 years ago at the draft that was held at AT&T Stadium in 2018 when the Arizona Cardinals took Josh Rosen out of UCLA in the first round. They were awful with Steve Wilkes as their head coach. They fired him after 1 year, although it was ridiculous. They didn't give him more time to kind of put things together, but they fired him, and they had the number 1 overall pick in the draft. They'd hired Cliff Kingsbury. He obviously knew Kyler Murray. And ahead of the draft or combine season, everybody was talking about how Cliff and the Cardinals were going to draft Kyler and move on from Josh. The Cardinals Twitter account tweeted, "Y'all are having fun with speculation, but Josh is our guy." They obviously would go on to trade Josh Rosen and draft Kyler Murray with the number 1 overall pick. So that they would kind of do the same thing with Kyler Murray here is just a little bit funny, to say the least.
Well, they paid him a lot of money when it was the management right before they got all whacked, and gave Kyler Murray a lot of money for a guy that, boy, just has not, at least at this point in time, has done nothing. Maybe healthy this year, he'll come back and be something. But that's the craziness. And we talk about the Prescott contract and some of the money that these quarterbacks make to pay guys that have that. I mean, quite frankly, don't even have a scratch on the surface when it comes to Dak Prescott's regular season record. Getting the money that they are getting is just absolutely crazy. And Kyler Murray thus far has not been the best of quarterbacks, but he's a very rich man.
No, and I remember when everybody was like, he would make so much more money playing baseball.
Yeah,
you play quarterback, you make a lot of money. On the subject though of money. You mentioned this in the break. The Cincinnati Bengals are the first team to exercise the franchise tag this offseason. They have officially placed it on wide receiver T. Higgins, so he's not going anywhere. The Bengals at least are preparing themselves to challenge the Chiefs in the AFC. Do you like the move? Do you not? I don't think they're going to get a long-term deal done here because they're going to have to pay Jamar Chase too.
Yeah, I like the deal. Apparently, it's about $21.8 million is what T. Higgins is going to make under the tag this year. I do like it because I think you can't let a guy like that get away if you think this year you can get it done. Jamar Chase obviously is the premier receiver. Higgins plays a great role in having both of those guys, and Joe Burrow's got to love the fact that they put the tag on T. Higgins not to let him get away. So, boy, I look at that Bengals team, RJ, and Burrow's got to find a way to stay healthy. If that dude, he's a great quarterback, and I think can be one of the greats, but, man, he's got to find a way to stay healthy, and that's been a problem for him. So I think they can challenge Kansas City with a healthy Joe Burrow, and that's going to be a big question mark. Certainly has been thus far.
He feels like the Peyton Manning to Mahomes' Brady. Like he's the one dude who's kind of capable of doing that quickly. And this is why everybody should subscribe to the YouTube channel, SA Sports Star on YouTube. Subscribe, like the video, turn on the notifications. Joshua Jimenez, Joe said in the Brigade Bar, "I got to say, I'm really loving this sophisticated sports show, especially when Joe has a real Picasso behind him. Man, that's some TV money." What is this piece behind you, Joe? And this again,
I'm not sure. I don't think it's a Picasso, but it says there's a name here. It says James. So
don't touch it. Don't touch that. You're diminishing the.
I won't, but I'm not sure who James is. But I'm actually sitting in my wife Maggie's office. So because she works both, right? She in the office. She went to the office today, so I'm using her office, and this is the painting that she likes to have behind her. So, hey, if that's sophisticated, that's great. But it's not a Picasso, unfortunately. I wish it was.
You are a sophisticated kind of guy, which is why I think your opinion on this is important. Over the weekend, we had another court storming incident, this time involving a Duke player, Wake Forest. I wonder if Tim had any or has any thoughts on this. But Wake Forest stormed the court. Duke head coach John Shire spoke about this and addressed that fans aren't even waiting, in his opinion, until the buzzard sounds, which is half of the issue.
If you look around the country and Caitlin Clark, something happens. Now Flip, I don't know what his status is going to be. He sprains his ankle. And it's one thing, like when I played, at least it was 10 seconds in the court, you would storm the court. Now it's the buzzer doesn't even go off, and they're running on the floor.
Kyle Flipowski, the player. You agree? I need to look at the broken down replay. I mean, I don't know that anybody's waiting before the buzzer sounds. That seems a little far-fetched.
Well, I think they're getting a running start, quite frankly. That plan is in place as they realize that Wake Forest is going to beat Duke. So the plan's in place, and they're all, getting ready for their moment in the sun, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. But look, these kids are going to do that. And I don't know how you stop it. I really don't. It's unfortunate that the young man got hurt. Hopefully it's not too bad because he is projected to be a top 10 pick in a lot of mock drafts that I've seen in the NBA. So hopefully he's not hurt badly. And but RJ, I don't know what you do to stop it, honestly, other than just putting an army around the court for every single game. And I'm just not sure that universities are willing to do that every single time.
It's either you outlaw it and punish, things. And again, if players are getting hurt, then you obviously have to have serious conversations. But I'm with you. I kind of think that I think from a legal perspective, I'm not a lawyer, but I imagine that arenas will start, in the final, TV timeout or something, addressing having some sort of message in arena. Fans, please remember, if you want to celebrate after the game, to do so appropriately, not to harm any, players or personnel, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's where we're headed. But this was a grievance of Duke, obviously. And Joe, you haven't been on an episode of the Morning Huddle since grievances became a thing. So I know that you have some grievances, and we're going to get into them. And we certainly want to get into any that anybody else has. The airing of grievances next here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Hi, my name is Alani. A little thing I like about the Spicy Deluxe sandwich is that you taste the crunch, you taste the pepper jack cheese melting, and you taste the spicy flavors in the sandwich. I'm telling you, 10 out of 10.
Hi, my name's Enrique. A little thing I love about Chick-fil-A's Spicy Deluxe sandwich is you get that rich flavor of the chicken and definitely that nice, tangy, warm bite. It's the perfect harmony of spiciness and taste.
Order the Spicy Deluxe sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Progressive presents advice on new teen drivers.
The hardest part about teaching your teen to drive is the chafing from the seatbelt. But the best part is the grip strength you build in your knuckles. Okay, now let's pull out of the driveway.
Here's another tip. Offset a chunk of the cost of adding a teen to your insurance with Progressive's Teen Driver Discount and get a break from the break. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states or situations.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
When something happens to your car, you might say, but what you really need to say is something that can actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And just like that, State Farm is there to help you file your claim right on the State Farm mobile app. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
People who come to cricket stay with cricket, just like our customer Jerry.
I'm the singer and guitarist in a band, and I use my cricket phone for everything. It's basically like another band member.
Don't miss a single beat. Switch today and get a free Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. Smile, you're on cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial. Must bring your number to Cricket on up to a $60 a month voice plan depending on device. Select models only while supplies last. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See store for details.
The LaTappe Texas cycling races are back in San Antonio, April 12th to the 14th. Cyclists of all ages, register now to ride in the 100, 60, or 25-mile Tour de France amateur cycling events. You can run, walk, cycle, and celebrate all things Fitness Fiesta at the Athletes Village and Expo. LaTappe, Texas. Register today at fiestafitfest.com. Presented in part by Thomas J. Henry.
This is the time of year to enjoy life. Stop letting that pain in your joints keep you from doing what you want this spring. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking about lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. It's a fact. QC Kinetics is literally transforming lives. Their advanced treatments harness your body's own natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Pro athletes have been doing this for decades, but now this life-changing treatment is available for you. So you can walk, run, climb stairs, play golf, and move again, pain-free. No pills, no risky surgery. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients who have reclaimed their mobility. So take action now. It's a great use of your tax refund check, by the way. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. Locations in Hollywood Park, Westover Hills, and New Braunfels.
This is the Morning Huddle with Rob Thompson and RJ Ochoa.
Welcome, newcomers. The tradition begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
Here are the grievances with Rob and RJ.
It's Monday, so you likely have something that has you upset. Thankfully for you, we have the antidote for that, and it is the airing of grievances. We do it every day around here on the Morning Huddle at 9:30 in the morning, blessed AM. Normally, Rob Thompson here. He's out today. I'm RJ Ochoa. In Rob's place for the first airing of grievances in his life, at least in this professional capacity, is Joe Reinagel. Joe, you know how this works, right? Or do you need the rules? I mean, I don't, I want to make sure you do this right.
Yeah, are there rules, RJ?
This is the purpose of this is to feel better as a result of it. So it's something you want to get off your chest. Right. It can be sports related, it can be non-sports related. We certainly are interested in what people have to say. 656 ESPN 656-3776, or you can chime in on our chat. Go subscribe on the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube feed. Joshua Jimenez has set a high bar in the chat. Says in the Brigade Bar, airing of grievances with Joe. Multiple exclamation points. This is going to be real good. He should do it from his front lawn, and at the end of it say, "Get off my lawn." Now, Joe, you are kind of a grievance person. Like you when you have a grievance, it's a strong one, and there's a real reason to have it, and there's a lot of conviction. And I think it's appropriate that you're here on today of all days. Well, you asked me why.
Why?
Well, because today is the 12-year anniversary of, I wouldn't say a grievance, but a moment of passion that you tend to exemplify on a kind of second-by-second basis in everything that you do and say. Pete Weber, an all-time bowler, said this 12 years ago today.
Strike to claim it, a strike to claim it, and he got it!
That is right, I did it! That's number 5! Are you kidding me? That's right! Who do you think you are? I am!
Who do you think you are? I am. Some of the more famous words ever spoken in the history of sports and really the history of the earth. That's the passion we're looking for from you, Joe, when it comes to grievances. So the floor is yours. Sports, pop culture, food, entertainment, whatever you want. What do you got for us?
I will, and it didn't even think about this, to be honest with you, RJ, but it's something that happened just last night that I'm very upset about and got very, really, really upset about. As a matter of fact, I am a big Whataburger defender. Everybody tries to throw in In-N-Out Burger, and In-N-Out Burger sucks. All right, let's just say that. It's horrible. I was so excited to try an In-N-Out Burger the first time I went to LA. I did, and I'm like, what the hell? This sucks. So I'm a big Whataburger guy.
Okay.
But this particular Whataburger that I went to yesterday, ordered a number 4, right? That's the meal. You get a Whataburger with cheese with jalapenos, fries, and a drink. So I open up the bag. There's no fries. And I'm already gone, right, from the Whataburger. Already gone. My wife likes to get the little kids meal chicken strips.
So she had the little tiny bag of fries.
She had no fries.
Oh,
there were no
no.
fries to be had. None.
Oh,
so
no.
The problem that I have, number 1, is Whataburger forgot the fries. Number 2, I'm a big defender of Whataburger, so that irritates me. And number 3, I don't like people that sit in the drive-thru and wait and check their bag. But I'm going to have to be one of those guys now.
Wow. So something we do here too that I should have mentioned is we judge the grievances. So I'll judge yours, you'll judge mine, and I'll let you know whether it passes or fails.
Okay.
Because sometimes we're just in a bad mood and something isn't a proper grievance. I think this is a great grievance. So this one passes for me. You got a batting percentage of 1,000 so far, Joe. Because I agree with you. Now you have to be that person because I'm sure last night while your meal was probably fine, it could have been so much better, and your wife's meal as well. And you don't want to experience that in the future. And Whataburger has scarred you. You know what I mean? Like you feel that phantom pain now every single time you drive through because what if they forgot the fries again? That's an unfortunate life that you have to live now.
I'm going to have to sit there like a goof in the drive-thru line before I leave the window, open up the bag, and make sure that everything's in there. I don't like that. I hate it when people do it because I'm ready to get up to the window and get my stuff. But now I'm going to have to be that guy.
Do you also not like it if you are paying for something in somewhere, but like at a physical line, not in the drive-thru, and the people put away their cash in their wallet or purse in front of you? Does that bother you in the same way? Like they're taking up time, sorting it or whatever?
I'm okay with that. It depends on how big a hurry I'm in, but I'm okay with that. I don't really have an issue with that. Most people do it pretty quickly, but it's that checking of the bag, especially if you're in front of or behind somebody that they got a big bag of food and they got to make sure and check that everything's there, and it just like let's get on with it. All right.
Oh, and sometimes when they order, they got like multiple kids in the car. So, you know what I mean? They're
exactly.
like, oh, your Diet Coke, your sweet tea, your unsweet tea. This one was supposed to be oh yeah, that's a nightmare.
Yes.
Man. So I'm
gonna have to be that guy.
Before I go into some grievances myself, what did you do when you got back and you ate? Did you eat chips or something at home, or did you just eat it fryless? That's kind of weird.
I know, right? Because what's a burger without fries? I mean, it just doesn't match up. So first time I've ever done it. If you look at your Whataburger receipt, there's one of those things where you snap the picture and they want to hear your comments. I actually complained the first time. Now, I expect a free Whataburger coupon or something. I mean, and then I'm really going to be upset if I don't get that. I got to get a free order fries or something. And yeah, I said, look, if this was the first time, RJ, I probably would have let it go. The other day at the Whataburger near my house, I get a sausage biscuit thing, right? So I get it. There's no sausage on it. It's just egg. And I'm like, what the hell is going on with Whataburger? So I'm a little bitter. I wouldn't complain otherwise, but it's not the first time.
We've clearly opened the gate here. And so this is tough. This is a fair and proper grievance. So you succeeded, but man, as a fellow Whataburger defender, it's gotten a little bit tough ever since they've gone a little corporate. This is a tough scene. I'm bummed to have to agree with you, but I mean, like you, I'm a truth teller. So your grievance passes. Okay, my first one. I have two today, so I hope you have a second one.
Okay. All right.
I actually wished this upon Rob recently, as we were arguing. He said something I didn't like, so I said, I hope this happens to you. What ultimately happened to me. And it also happened at a place that I like to defend. So I was in Waco over the weekend we were visiting my in-laws. My son got to see his grandparents. It was super awesome. We had a great time. We saw the Dr. Pepper Museum and all this fun stuff. But we went and had lunch at George's, one of the more popular stops, along I-35. And I had hyped this place up, because I've been there many times. I told my in-laws, and There's nothing worse, by the way, when you hype something up and it doesn't deliver. Now, they enjoyed it, but for anyone who hasn't been to George's, they have these things called crazy wings. I think they used to be called armadillo eggs, but I'm not certain. But it's basically chicken. Do you know what they are, Joe?
I don't know what they are. I've been to George's, but I don't know what those are.
They're little kind of almost chicken nugget sized, the kind of pockets of chicken wrapped around jalapeno and cheese. And then that whole, mechanism is wrapped around bacon and deep fried. So it's this ball of like intense, just deliciousness. And they serve it to you, and they have this big old, saucer of ranch dressing, and you dip it in ranch dressing, and it's super awesome. Now, I'm a considerate person. I'm a considerate family member, a considerate son-in-law. So I'm not going to be dipping my stuff into the community ranch, right? So I asked the waitress, I said, hey, can you bring a spoon? Because it was actually a really big saucer cup. I said, can you bring a spoon so that, like my thought was so I could spoon some ranch onto my individual plate, right? Oh, yeah, I'll be right back. Never came with a spoon. The whole meal, she never brought the spoon. So I was waiting for a long time, and I was starving, and I was really excited for this and for these wings and this whole meal and everything like that. And I ultimately had to pick up the saucer and very carefully drip some ranch onto my plate. But there is nothing worse than getting your meal when you're kind of wanting a sauce, like whether it's ranch or ketchup, and not having that. You have to wait to start your meal. It's worse than not having the food, because you have the food but not the necessary dipping sauce.
No, that passes, and I'll give you that one. That because it happens. It happens a lot, doesn't it? I like crushed red pepper. If you're on pizza or whatever, I like crushed red pepper, but I always have to ask for it. I mean, don't most people, or if you don't, you always get the cheese, right? The Parmesan cheese, but then they don't bring the crushed red pepper, so I have to ask for it. Well, I don't want to start eating until I get the right. Everybody else is already halfway through their first slice, and I got to wait.
I'm more shocked that they don't have it. I feel like it's a staple on the table to have the cheese and the pepper.
It should be. And you go to a restaurant where they're cranking out the cheese and everything, and I'm like, can I have some red pepper? And
why do they have to? Why do they have to bring that? Why can't they bring, like, if you go to Olive Garden or something, not to call them out, but you go to a place where they have the grated cheese. When they bring you the stuff, why can't they leave the cheese? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Because you know what I actually want? I want some on every layer. I want some cheese on the top, and then I'm going to eat a little bit, and then I'm done with the cheese, because I ate it all. I want to have it all throughout. So why can't you? What's so precious about the graters that you have to take it away?
Well, I think it's the ambiance of the restaurant, right? They're cranking that cheese out, and you tell them when it is. And it's the same with like the pepper, and you tell them, and the guy's cranking away there. And
you want the black pepper, the grinded pepper. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
I mean, I'm with you, but why can't you leave the thing? Why can't you, because then what I'm saying is even worse. Then you eat some salad or whatever, and you want more cheese to continue the meal, and you have to then pause. You know what I'm saying? You have to pause, and you have to flag down the waiter, and you have to say, can you bring the cheese thing? And they come, and then they say, tell me. That's such an uncomfortable moment, by the way. Tell me when. That's like, I'm just being silently judged. With every crank, you're thinking like, this is enough, man. Like, this isn't good for you at this point in time. It's a really uncomfortable moment for me.
Yeah, the server's going, dude, this guy's in trouble, man. With all this cheese on his salad, he's in trouble. That's not good. I don't know why. The only thing I think of, RJ, is these guys probably trained for weeks on how to use this crank and cheese thing.
Right.
So that's the only thing I think of.
There's certification involved. Yeah.
Right. A regular civilian like yourself would have no clue how to do the cheese right. And so that's what I'm thinking.
Do you have a second grievance, or do you need time? Because I have a second one ready to roll.
You go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tweeted about this yesterday, actually. So coming home from Waco, I was so excited to pack the car. I don't know, my son's 2 years old, so I'm new to the dad game, but there is nothing more fun than packing the car. And I think I've actually really reached dad mode on this, because I don't want any help. You'll do it wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a way this has to go so that everything is in the place that makes the most sense for it, so that everything is accessible the way that it needs to be. Now, I'm not trying to call anybody out who's riding with me, but my grievance is I put everything I put where I put it for a reason, and I took into consideration your needs. So when you're done, put it back where it goes. Like we're trying to, I want to establish everything in the most efficient way possible and leave the most room in the car possible so all the riders can be comfortable so we don't have a mess going. That's my grievance is leave the things where they are, put them back where they belong in the car. And we're all together in this tiny space for this journey. So let's obey the rules of the Packer. In this case, that happens to be me.
You could only be talking about your wife, so obviously you're throwing her right under the bus here. So let's get that straight, first of all. I hope she's a very kind woman. I'm sure she is.
She is.
And
she's
patient
too
with
kind
you.
for me. But it's actually, it's not just her. It's very often, other people join in and they sit in and then, they pull something from the back out that they needed and then they leave it in the back seat with them. No.
Uh-huh.
There was a designated place for this in the back. We laid it out. We had a plan. We had a blueprint and everything. So, just stick to it. That's all I'm saying. And
Now,
then every
RJ,
stop is a chance to refresh and reassess.
Now, knowing where you live, that's a hell of a drive you took yesterday.
I mean, I'm tough like that, Joe. And that's why I packed the car the way that I did, so that it could all work the way I needed it to work.
Now, do you go through Alice when you go home?
I do.
Nice. Okay. That's my hometown, by the way.
Of course I know that. You and Tom Landry.
Yeah. Tom Landry.
We have a grievance in the chat. Rudolph Gonzalez. This is what's great, hearing about these problems that people face. Rudolph Gonzalez says, my grievance is that HEB doesn't train their baggers to bag properly. They used to be very good at it. Also, paper bags are far superior. I agree the paper bags are superior, although it's difficult to carry multiple of them at the same time. The plastic bags, you put a bunch on your arm, you know what I'm saying, and you go in. Do you run into this, Joe? Do you feel like your groceries aren't bagged the right way? They aren't bagged efficiently?
I didn't know they still did paper bags, to be honest with you. So I'm learning something from Rudolph. But
they do it some places. It's select.
Rudolph has always got a lot of grievances. Rudolph and I have this love-hate relationship going on. So, which is fine. And so, I like Rudolph, but I didn't know they made paper bags still. And you talk about a grievance. They go to California or somewhere and they charge you for those damn things.
That's a great point. Yeah. You go to
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, they're like 10 cents a bag.
Yes.
And then they say, how many do you want? I mean, there was a lot of, I don't know if you saw this, there were a lot of memes about all the private jets that left Las Vegas after the Super Bowl. There was somebody had like, it wasn't a Google Earth, but it was some sort of app that tracks, private jets or whatever. And it was just like, it was like a spider web of jets leaving here, there in different directions. And the like caption said, but I'm going to drink out of a paper straw. Like, okay. Joe has to pay for, bags at the grocery stores to help the environment, but we got all these private jets leaving around Las Vegas in a 24-hour period. We got 100 private jets. Doesn't make sense.
That makes no sense. And have you ever had a paper straw? Have you ever done that? It's horrible. It's horrible. So, I think I don't know. I haven't been to a restaurant in a long time where they serve you with a paper straw. So I'm happy about that. Maybe that little fad is over. But yeah, it's awful because you really can't even get through your drink with a paper straw. It's ruined, and you have to have more than one. So
I would offer this
paper straw. That's a grievance.
As a restaurant related grievance. You're a tea drinker. But like you go to a restaurant, do you put sugar, lemon in your tea? Like when you're at a restaurant?
I don't. I've gotten to the point where I used to use Sweet and Low quite a bit, and everybody told me how bad that was for me. But I love the taste of Sweet and Low.
Okay, but it's a common thing.
So yeah,
right. So some people do it. My grievance is if you're somebody, and we're not coming for waiters today. These just happen to all be in the same universe of grievances. If I'm drinking tea that I'm making, so you're bringing me the unsweetened tea, I'm very obviously, adding sugar, whatever it is, and lemon if I'm doing that, and stirring it at the table. All right. If I'm mid-meal, and say I'm at like a barbecue restaurant and my hands are dirty, things like that, whatever, and I got half a glass, I appreciate that you're looking out for me and you want to fill it up. But if you fill it up, then I have to redress the tea. You know what I'm saying? And my hands are filthy. And so I have to clean up my hands. I have to do the tea. I have to stir everything. And now there's more ice and it's getting diluted. And the consistency isn't exactly where I want it to be. Maybe chill out while I'm eating. That's all I'm saying.
So you're saying the guy should just wait till your glass is completely empty and then fill it?
I mean, there's a point where I think it's fair. Maybe if I have like 30%, maybe we come to terms on a universal agreement on what the consensus, comfortable point of refilling is. But 50% is not it. If I have 50%, I have more than enough to work with for my meal.
Well, again, that's weeks of training, RJ, that they're told not to let that glass get empty. Wow. And that's the way it is. So these guys, most servers are fantastic. They take their job very seriously. And so that, and I hope you tip them well. Are you a big tipper, RJ?
Of course. I mean, why shouldn't we be? If you can, you should. You know what I mean? Everybody's hustling, everybody's grinding, everybody's got, food to put on a table. And so if people can, I think they should. I try to in every instance. On the subject of food, because we're getting ready to wind things down. You've had some time. You're going to be back in like 5 minutes for the Blitz, but have you figured out what your lunch plan is for today?
I have no clue. I will probably go scrounge around the kitchen as soon as we get off the air right now and figure out something that I can at least tide me over until I find a
do you know your dinner plans?
Place.
Do you know your dinner plans yet?
No, I don't. And it already seems like
I've
been
living
awake for
today?
12 hours. So,
I mean, this is a
plan
real
out meals. You plan out meals, right? I mean,
dude, we have a 2-year-old. Our whole week is planned for dinners. Like,
so you already have lunch and dinner planned already.
Yeah, well, we have to live by a schedule, especially for him. So, like, I know I'm about to go throw some chicken on the smoker and have it ready. I'm gonna pick off that every day for lunch and make some kind of bowls with rice and beans and things like that. It's gonna be awesome. So yeah, I have a plan. How are you this aloof? You know what I mean? Like, that's another one of my grievances. Get some organization going on here.
Well, you see, in my defense, I mean, empty nester, right? It's just me and Maggie, so
that's fair.
we can be spontaneous.
Ooh,
so if,
spontaneous and sophisticated because of the James Picasso painting behind you.
James Picasso, original.
Ooh, Will S. By the way, my grievance is that my work has changed my hours, so I only get to catch the last 90 minutes of the huddle and all of the Blitz. Well, if you're getting all of the Blitz, you're getting all of Joe Reinagle later on this afternoon. Our many, many thanks, Joe, to you for joining us this morning, getting up bright and early and pulling a little bit of double duty. You're the man.
Thanks for having me, RJ. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Make sure to subscribe to the SC Sports Star full day, and make sure to do not touch that dial. We got so much sports in store for you. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Blitz with Jason and